hornbills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Djuma, a grey heron and a saddle-billed stork saying hello to us. Welcome, my name's John T. We've got Darren on the camera, and we are going to be exploring Djuma with you this afternoon. We've got Ali with us on Djuma, Matt at Phinda, Mike at Pridelands, and Trico at Ngala. I want to go catch up. When we left here this morning, this dam, there was a whole huge herd of buffalo. We actually got to help out in a bit of a operation where Tristan found one that had a piece of wire caught around its neck. And so the vets came out, we darted it and removed the snare, which is very cool. But I want to catch up to that herd, and I want to catch up to the Talamati pride and see what happens later. And please, while we're doing that, send in any questions or comments you have using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter, at FC on YouTube. If you're under the age of 18, pop us a mail on kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. You can register on the WildEarth website, head over to the Live Safari page, and you can submit your questions there. And we are all so sad. The Springboks just lost in the 81st minute to Australia. So sad. Well played, Australia. Boo-hoo to us, the Springboks. At least we get to come out to such a beautiful place to try to take our minds off of it. I'm just trying to look with my binoculars to see a close-up of that saddle-billed stork. You often find them in pairs. And that one I was trying to look to see if it's got any colour around the eye, because that way you can tell if it's a male or female. And this one, oh, it's just going behind. You can see there's no yellow behind or around the eye. The female's got a beautiful yellow eye, now that one doesn't. So that would be a male saddle-billed stork. Simon, no, we don't. Not in this part of South Africa. Typically you find them in the more arid, drier regions around the Karoo, parts of the Eastern Cape, the Northern Cape. They are really beautiful antelope. And our sort of national team gets our name from them because there used to be prolific herds of springbok in South Africa. We're going to continue watching this heron, and you're going to have a quick look at the weather at the different locations this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody, and a warm welcome to andBeyond's Phinda Private Game Reserve, where, much like Dante, very much warm weather and very windy out here this afternoon on the east coast of southern Africa. We've come down to one of the watering holes close to where a couple of lions were seen this morning, just to see if there was anything of interest here. Starting with the darter, who's busy sunning itself. A couple of Impala and waterbuck and the likes in the near distance as well. But really, really beautiful scenes here this afternoon. My name's Matt, and behind the camera we've got Odie. And our plan for this afternoon is to have a look for some lions that were last seen not too far from where we are now, to see if we can't catch up with them. I believe there was a mom and a couple of youngsters with her, which is quite exciting. But still really hot. There were no signs of them when we drove past a little bit earlier on. But I can imagine later, when it cools down a bit, is when we might start seeing some action with the predators. Have a look on the far side at those white-faced whistling ducks, all busy preening themselves. Very busy bodies. They've got a lovely, lovely call that you've probably heard before. For all those twitching from the comfort of your couch. A couple of little grebes as well, calling earlier on. The standard Egyptian geese also on the banks of the water. Just going to scan a little bit while I'm here as well. There's a yellow-billed kite flies overhead. Always good to have around, particularly if they're predators. The tawny eagles and battaliers are often the first ones to spot carcasses from above. And this one you can see in these conditions today, making flying look effortless. And again, some unbelievable camera work from the man sitting behind me, Odie. As we watch that kite, you can see that very distinct fork in its tail. And if it were to bank, we might just see that yellow bill that I referred to. A couple of egrets as well. We're going to carry on to a couple of other watering holes and see if there's any action out there. But we're going to head off to Ali, who's going to say hello to us.
Well, it seems like the Waterhole run is probably the best thing to do. It is fairly hot today, so we're also going to check Twin Dams and Treehouse Dam, which are the other two water holes that Junty hasn't checked. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today is Morgan. Woo! And we don't really have any expectations for the afternoon. We're gonna follow up on reports of Darkmane, the male lion crossing back from just on the other side of our traverse. Sorry, this car is a little bit bouncy today. And we're slowly going to make our way to the area where he was seen crossing. Hopefully we can see exactly where it is that he's crossed, maybe catch up with him. I suspect all the roaring of the females this morning or all the calling got his attention, and then he just decided to come over and then check out what they're doing. He hasn't been with the Talamatis for a couple of days, so maybe he's just got some sort of separation anxiety or, potential opportunity of eating anxiety. It does happen sometimes. But I'm sure he's on his way back because he heard the girls were around. And with that big herd of buffalo, who knows, there might be something interesting happening later on. Oh look, there's a saddle-billed stork. I'm just gonna go on top of the dam wall and see if we can have a look at this very beautiful stork. Martin, well, fingers crossed we'll see a lot of cats. Even if we just see the Talamati pride, that is already a lot of cats. And we can always throw some leopards into the mix. Perhaps even we'll get a very elusive serval or a caracal. Oh no! Friend, come back! No, he doesn't want to be your friend. Okay, goodbye. It was great while it lasted. There goes one saddle-billed stork. He's flying in the direction of Treehouse Dam. What that saddle-billed doesn't know is that we're going there too. So maybe we'll see him on the next waterhole. Off he went. Many terrapins sunning themselves here.
We are just sitting here at Djuma Dam, watching a saddlebill stork. He's carefully fishing on the far side of the dam. We're just enjoying this view. There's a grey heron as well. It's still quite hot. I think they'll only sort of see mammals coming down a little bit later, once it starts cooling off. Still a beautiful scene though, with the sun shimmering on the water there. So we were saying earlier, this looks like a male saddlebill stork. One of the other vehicles just saw a saddlebill stork at another watering hole that took off. I wonder if it's a female. It would be cool if they ended up in the same water here together.
What a glorious afternoon it here is at Pridelands. It's warm, a little bit breezy, but clear blue skies. We've got some blue sky action. Oh, there's nothing more you could ask for in a day. Hi everyone, my name is Mike Anderson, and we are here at Eco-Training's Pridelands. Behind the camera is Craig, and we're hoping to show you some of this glorious action that arrives here at this waterhole on an otherwise hot day. We've got a couple of Egyptian geese which are looking for food at the far side of the dam, digging their faces in the mud, looking for some invertebrates, maybe a few flat frogs called platannas, these very primitive looking frogs. And there was a little grebe before, I don't know where it's gone though. It's the first time we've seen the little grebe for a while. These geese are just going to be moving along there, probably defending that spot from anything that comes to the waterhole. Other geese, maybe even any predators that might turn up, because there's also a carcass here at the waterhole, which is quite interesting. We've got, as far as I understand it, looks like a very, very young buffalo that was caught in the mud probably last night. Maybe the herd came down to drink, and this young buffalo perhaps wandered a bit too close to this very, very sticky mud and caught itself into a situation. And this morning, I believe, Craig and JP came across a few hyenas exiting the scene. So perhaps there'll be some more action here this afternoon as the sun starts to slide its way towards the horizon, and you might get to see a little bit more of the story of what happened here. It's very interesting. You can actually see the face of that buffalo facing upwards there, the nose, the mouth, and the ear, and the rest of its body. It's been fed on. You can see a little bit of the vertebra and a little bit of pinkness from the meat that's showing. Quite a gruesome end for an animal with such a short life, such a long life still left to live, but such is the circle of life. We'll keep you updated if anything changes here at Leopard Dam. In the meantime, we'll send you over to Ali, who's also at a waterhole.
Well, we had what we thought was a family of dwarf mongoose just... Oh, there's one in the middle right there. Yeah, well done. Very quick. They disappeared for a while, but now they're back on camera, and you see it's very windy. Ooh, all of a sudden. So the little mongoose is actually a little bit frightened. Too many things happening in 1 second. This, what you're looking at, is a dwarf mongoose, as I said before. They are found in groups. They have large families, so I'm sure where this one is, there must be a few more around. I suspect that termite mound that you saw earlier, that's where they've been coming in and out, because what they do is they start moving. They start, obviously, in their home base for the night. They wake up. They sunbathe for a little bit, they kind of tan themselves, they groom, and then they start foraging. And as they forage, they move on to their next abode, let's put it that way, another termite mound or another potential place where they like to spend the day. And then they'll spend the night there, and then the next day they'll start over and they'll move off to another area, stay in another termite mound or another potential den, and then carry on and carry on. They might spend a couple of days around the same area if the foraging is good, but now that it's quite dry and there are far less insects and plants and things around, perhaps they're moving out a little bit more. It's maybe why we can't see them. Let's run. Bye-bye. It's gone all the way there. So I wonder where it's... I don't know if we're going to be able to see it again. Vanessa, yes, the dwarf mongoose are the smallest of the mongoose species that we have in this area, and the biggest one is the white-tailed mongoose that we get around here. We did see some banded mongoose. I'd never seen them before on Djuma, but we saw them the other day, which was a first for me, which was quite exciting. They're all fairly common species of mongoose, and the banded and the dwarf they live in groups. They're sociable animals, whereas then we've got other ones like the slender mongoose that fits in between the dwarf and the banded and the white-tailed that are actually solitary. I can still see a couple of them running around, so I just wonder if maybe there aren't some more behind this fallen over tree right here, because it's very unusual to see just one, and we've been hearing them on and off, so I don't know if also they've come onto the other side of the road, but it seems like there hasn't been much luck with them around here. I was kind of hoping there would be another one, because this morning we also had a wonderful sighting of them. Unfortunately, due to tech issues, they had to cut away from us. I couldn't think of the right order of things. And they were all coming in and out of the den, and then they were, I say den, but I mean old termite mound that is not active, but very much like this one over here. So this would be a great building for them. And if you look at the termite mound, in some areas, particularly towards the top, there are little holes, and that's what the mongoose have been using to come in and out. As you know, in the termite mound, or as you may not know, inside of the termite mound, there are a lot of channels and pathways that the termites use, and then once the termites are no longer in there, then animals like the dwarf mongoose make their homes in there, which is perfect. Well, not only the dwarf mongoose, and we have a wide array of creatures that use termite mounds as their homes, from porcupines to warthogs to even hyenas, sometimes even leopards when they have their little ones. So it's a very good real estate to have around in your area of operation. Doesn't seem like our mongoose are going to come back. Sorry, I thought I saw one, but it's actually a dove in the distance. So we're potentially going to... Oh, there it is running again. Guys, come back. Oh. Yeah, there's a tree in the way of the camera, but we're going to stay a little bit longer, see if perhaps the mongoose come back to this area. But in the meantime, we'll send you guys across to watch what exciting event we've got planned for tonight.
While the African bush is desperate for rain, spring is certainly in the air. Fresh green leaves are sprouting, flowers are adding color to the landscape, and many animals are preparing for the birth of their young. At the moment, large concentrations of wildlife can be found at waterholes, which are the lifeline for the animals. But soon the rains will arrive, and the bush will transform overnight. Seasonal rivers will start to flow, the bush will be filled with baby animals, and it will become a time of plenty. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and join Ali and Jonty for a special Spring Has Sprung fireside chat on the 12th of September, straight after the Sunset Safari. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
afternoon, everybody, and welcome to andBeyond in Ngala. As you can see right in front of your screens, we have a beautiful antelope sitting there under the shade there. Good afternoon once more. My name is Trico, and behind the camera I have Johan with me doing a fantastic job. I'm glad that everybody can join us. So our plans basically for this afternoon, we're going to be heading into a waterhole. Stand by there and see what else can come for a drink. As you can see, it's quite warm today. So if you look at that antelope right in front of your screens, you'll see it has those spiral horns. And if you look across his face, right in front of his eyes, you'll notice there's a little bit of white markings there. And look at the size of those ears. Really, really big. So what you're looking at there, it's a greater kudu sitting under the shade there. And if you look on its mouth, right, you'll notice it's actually chewing. The mouth is moving. But we haven't seen it pick up any grass or any leaves. So what is happening there, basically, this particular animal is ruminating. And if you have cows at home, you would have noticed that they also do the same. Rest on their sternum, allowing more space, and re-chew their food. And actually, if you sit here and just look and pay attention, you can actually see it when it actually regurgitates. Its body moves a little bit. So let's wait for it to swallow. Mark, welcome. I'm glad that you can join us today. I believe your question is, are kudu bulls bigger than Ngala bulls? Definitely. Greater kudus are much larger than Ngalas. So let's pay attention, right, while it's chewing. Let's wait for it to swallow. And if you pay attention to its neck, you actually notice the card or whatever's chewing being regurgitated back into the mouth and re-chewed again. Okay, pay attention, wait for it. Let's see. There we go. Did you see that? You can actually see a tiny little bolus coming up. So I'm not too sure how hot it is. I think it feels about maybe 29 or 30 degrees today, which is why this particular animal is just sitting there. I mean, even birds around today, there's not much moving around. I mean, they would have been active early in the morning, but as it becomes this hot, they just find places where there's a nice bit of shade and basically rest. So this guy sitting here, as the day progresses, is going to move. And the first place that I think he might go is head north, just right in front of us, basically heading to a waterhole and go drink. With that being said, we're going to leave this animal be, and we're going to continue heading north and east to the waterhole and see what we find there.
I have a degree in environmental planning and development. My passion is outdoor classrooms. We are not only grooming the environmentalists of tomorrow, but tomorrow's leaders as well. My long-term goal is for the people of South Africa to learn how to live sustainably, to be able to look after themselves and the environment. So I hope that through environmental education, we are able to get that message to the future generation of South Africa so that they start now and can continue that good practice in the future. Environmental education is critical so that people can live sustainably in the future. That is my long-term goal.
It's day one of the annual South African Guide of the Year competition. And our first foot into this competition this morning is all about tracks and signs.
We're going to call you in one at a time. Just look at it, the information will be there.
Our 5 guides have been tasked by the judges at figuring out who is what is who, and where they go in the bush.
It's either Franklin or guinea fowl, but because of the volume of other deposits in the area, we went with guinea fowl.
Detailing the surrounding that you need to look out for tracks. The details is very important.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene, rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
So, we found the lions again, not far from where they were earlier. We just wanted to check what they're up to, and then I think we're going to leave here and go see where the buffalo have got to, so we can then figure out what our next move is. And how mad is that? A little lion on the termite mound. It's hard to actually appreciate how close that she is to us. And there's another one coming. Hello. But it is still very warm, so I don't think they're going to be doing too much. And the direction that the buffalo were heading was to the right of where we are. So the way that lioness is facing is down to the right, and they were actually heading north and west. So I want to go see if they've crossed. It's interesting that this one's chosen to lie right in the sun. One, two, three, four. So there's 5 next to us here, and there's still 4 behind us. Wesley, it's a good vantage point. So you can get quite a good visual of what's around the area. And also there's a bit of a breeze up there. Like what's perfect would be a termite mound with a bit of shade. Then you're in the golden spot. One of the young males just got up to walk away, but he tripped. It is funny, even though it's hot, they're trying to find shade. But you'll see they'll still go lie down on top of each other. And that's what's happened down in front of us now. The one lioness came and joined, flopped down on where the 2 boys were. Now they've both got up and moved. And the others are lying in a bit of a pile. I think we're going to move away from these lions, and while we do that, you're going to head over to Ali, who's going to a watering hole.
Well, seems like the right thing to do. It's quite nice by the shade, but if you're out in the sun, then it gets very hot very quickly. Also, there's a lot of glare all around us, especially if you're sitting at a waterhole and you have the light reflecting from the surface of the water. But also out in the bush, there are many sandy roads and the grass is a very light color. So driving out around at this time of the day, you have to squint quite a bit. So suspect that's why the lions are sleeping. No need for them to move, and rest assured they are very much aware of where the buffaloes are. I think during the day they didn't bother because it was too hot, and now they're not bothering because it's too hot, but maybe later on Janti will get lucky with the lions trying to chase or hunt the buffalo. I know we've been trying to get that visual to happen, but it doesn't seem like the lions have been successful in getting any of the buffalo in the Sabi San. They always seem to get them in the Manialeti, which is where they had their last buffalo, the Talamati Pride, anyway. Oh, there it is flying away. We did manage to catch up with the saddle-billed stork, but it's now flying away again. Maybe towards Gowrie Dam? Where are you going? Maybe going back to Twin Dams Road. This doesn't seem like a happy type of saddle-billed stork. Definitely doesn't want to be our friend, so we're not going to try and follow it anymore. It's just going back to Treehouse Dam, judging by its flight route, so we're going to leave it. We can enjoy the time there. I think it terrorized enough of the lapwings around here while it was moving and trying to look for food. And the lapwings really don't like it when any other bird or creatures come too close to their nesting site. So they start alarming and dive bombing and then just trying to push them away. On the other hand, we've had a hippo that has been fairly relaxed. He's been with his head popped out. Maybe this is Scuba Steve after all. An old friend that used to be around. He used to be very shy, just putting his head in the water, his ears in the water, and sometimes only showing up the nostril to gasp for air and then going back down. Maybe it's not a shy. Maybe also the water level is not allowing for that to happen. We are coming towards the end of the dry season, so water sources are going to start evaporating fairly quicker than what they haven't up to this point, because the days are becoming increasingly hot. I think today even we're probably around the high 30s in Celsius. Well, not maybe high 30s, but maybe about low 30s. Oh, and I see there are two giraffes in the background that are slowly making their way in this direction. So do we... If you see the moving trees? Morgan was very puzzled by my comment. Hammond? No, not every waterhole has the hippo. Gowrie Dam, I'm not sure if it had a hippo today, although I suspect with all those buffalo, perhaps not. Treehouse Dam has a hippo today, but it didn't a couple of days ago, and we've just been to Twin Dams and there were no hippo there. And Buffelshoek Dam, which is the other large waterhole on Djuma, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Hippos do move around in between different water sources, so they don't always stay in the same place, although we tend to see the same ones, or we think the same ones, in roughly the same places. So I suspect this one is the same one that moves from here to Gowrie Dam, and from Gowrie Dam back down here. Perhaps it's an old solitary bull that doesn't really want to be disturbed or have to hang around with too many females and babies and things. So it just kind of does its own thing and sticks around this area. So I know Morgan did do a good job of showing you the giraffe earlier. And I want to wait for a little bit over here because they might just come down for a drink. They've been slowly moving in this direction, and we are parked on the other side of the dam from where they would come from. So it might pay off just to patiently wait for them here for the next sort of 10-15 minutes, see if they come down to the water for a drink. The hippo would probably not be impressed, as neither would the blacksmith lapwing. Always look like little gentlemen to me. Not really like much anything else, but they're always causing chaos and they're always chasing someone around, and it's quite funny when that happens. That's a pretty reflection. We're gonna wait for our giraffe to make their way towards the water for a drink, but we'll send you guys across to Mike, who's on bushwalk.
Creepy crawlies. We have been getting down towards the water to see if we could find some small things, and we found a really creepy looking spider, and I don't know what species of spider this is. unfortunately. However, what I do know is that it's incredibly well camouflaged. I mean, it really just looks like bits of sand, as you can see, lovely mottled brown colors. It looks sort of like a wolf spider, although I can't get close to it because every time I do it tries to run away. And if it is a wolf spider, then it's probably filled with eggs about to lay or carry their eggs. Sometimes the wolf spiders have a little egg sac that they carry around with them. This one's got a really fat abdomen. No, I don't know what kind of spider it is. It doesn't. It's probably not dangerous to us. I'm not going to touch it though. I'm almost certain that it's not dangerous to us. But what it can do, we found out just now when we were trying to get closer to it, it ran from us, and it actually ran onto the water, and it ran, probably about half a meter onto the water surface, then turned around and came back. A lot of spiders are able to run along the surface of water because their bodies are light and they spread their weight distribution on those 8 legs, and so they don't break the water surface tension. But this spider is quite heavy, so perhaps it ran out and realized that it couldn't keep it up, so it ran back. Now it's staying still, and there's a few spiders making a spider coming. A few flies. Oh, never mind. The fly managed to escape. Oh, our spider is up. Oh, there it goes. Oh, to the water. Where are you going? There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the spider. It's jumping on the water, and it's now gone very far. Goodness, that's incredible. It's escaped. That's maybe a very good defensive technique. Now, I hope it doesn't get eaten by a frog or something. It's probably going to... I'm super impressed for such a big spider. Look how it's moving as well. It's sort of like pulses its legs. It's not running. It's just pulsing its legs up and down, running along the surface of the water. I don't know if you can still see that, Craig. It's gone quite far. Wow. A spider that swims is awesome, Pele. I think that's one of the first times I've seen a spider that's that fat run like this. Sometimes they swim along the surface. It almost looks like skating. This one is literally hopping, although unfortunately it's fighting the wind. It runs a short distance and then the wind drifts it back. It's quite a risky maneuver. Nowhere is safe. Everyone nowhere is safe from spiders. Just a few days ago, I was showing students a spider, and I was explaining how they kite from tree to tree to move long distances, and then the spider decided to kite from my hand directly towards a student who was not particularly fond of spiders, and that was, let's just say, rather amusing.
Okay, so we... excuse me. We are coming to just have a look at this watering hole. And there are some buffaloes that have been here. Oh my word, look at these elephants. Copied. I'm just repositioning. How epic is that? Wow. I'm not going to talk too much. Just watch this and enjoy it. How epic is this? So we came a bit further away. We saw where the buffalo had crossed. And they headed here to Tambuti Dam. And we drove up on the dam wall. We had no clue that these elephants were here. And they are having the best time ever. Look at that one lying down. That looks like so much fun. You hear the hamakopa. Look at that elephant. Oh, that's too funny. These buffalo probably tried to come in here. I think these elephants would have pushed them away. Rosemary, you are correct. Looks like there's a buffalo bull about to start wallowing as well. So the temperature, I might go and get in that mud as well. He was scratching a little bit at it while the elephant was walking away. I'd love to see him sort of flop down in that mud. And just to piece together where, so these lines have not, these buffalo have crossed the boundary further to the west from where the lions are lying. Unless the lions turn around, these buffalo, I think, have passed them for the day. Such a pitiful sound from the hamakopa.
Yeah.
Lily Pan, no, I don't think so. We're quite far. When I say quite far, we're probably like less than a kilometre, but there's very little breeze to speak of. And the little bit that there is, it's going the wrong way. So I don't think they can smell the lions at all. I think it's just by chance. They probably planned their route from Djuma Dam to come feeding towards this Tamboti Dam, because they look like they've settled around here. The ones that we can see are sort of still standing, but there's still a lot that are in the shade, lying down. Yeah, it is a funny sound, eh? It makes for a cool little backing track. But you could see when those elephants were moving through there and rolling around, the hammerkops were right on the edge, watching for any little tidbits that they could go and grab. Imagine those elephants now in that breeze, now that they're covered in this cold water and mud. That breeze against their skin must feel amazing. Lots of oxpeckers. We'll just enjoy this scene for a little bit longer.
Hi, we are Yaku and Malani. We are from Gauteng in South Africa. We started watching WildEarth last year during the level 5 lockdown, and we've been watching ever since.
Being in nature is one of the greatest feelings. We absolutely love it. Our favorite thing about WildEarth is that the concept is so amazing. We have the benefit of having a wildlife safari in the comfort of your home, especially when you're not allowed to go out. Being part of the Wildlife Explorer program gives us a sense of giving back and contributing to nature. It just makes us feel good because we love it so much. We are so excited to be visiting Angoma. It is obviously, I think for most people, an absolute dream to visit the Masai Mara. We can't wait to go.
Thank you very much for this amazing prize, WildEarth.
WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
I think sometimes you need just to listen. So it's a kind of taking out all that other spirit and bring back wilderness and healthy. Bushwalk and trek and sign. I'm sure I'm good at that. I spend most of my time on the ground since I was a young boy, so I think I'm good with that. Actually, I'm not much nervous of any category. Just take it as it is. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on what the judges are looking at. So chances are 50-50 on my side. I'm not... Obviously, when you go for a competition, you say you win.
this is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
What we are looking at here is a glorious tree with this beautiful smooth patch over here that I just cleaned off with a little bit of water to show you just that beautiful grain of the wood. This is a leadwood that has been smoothed over probably, I don't know, the last 4 years or so since elephants were here, or maybe the tree was being used before it was fenced off. But it's been absolutely smoothed by elephants. There's nothing else which is really this tall. Perhaps a buffalo, but unlikely. And this is a leadwood. It's an extremely hardwood tree that will probably live for hundreds of years. And to see one being smooth like this is wonderful. In fact, slowly over time, the animal's oily skins will slowly soak in. You can see the mud all over the side there. And all the way down here, the animals are rubbing against it. And the oils from their skin will slowly seep in here over time. And in some parts of the world, like, I don't know, places where there are lots of rubbing posts, you find actually gets wonderfully polished. It almost turns a dark color as the oils have soaked in and preserved the wood. And it's really wonderful to see. I think there are some parts of the world where there's lots of large animals, which have plenty of them. Now, I looked on this thing to see if I could find ticks or parasites that have been rubbed off by this elephant that's been rubbing against here, and I couldn't find any. However, what I did find was a lot of these little hairs just over there. Now, these are probably from a buffalo. I don't know what else would be rubbing at about this height, which is just about my head height when you kneel down. Just over there, there's a lot of hairs trapped in here. So buffaloes definitely rub on logs like this after mud wallowing in order to get rid of ticks and parasites. And sometimes you'll find them actually embedded in here. But not this one, unfortunately. This looks very, very dry and very old. I'm sure if I looked hard enough, I'd find some. There's some, it looks very wet, but that's just me from when I washed it. Yolanda, they don't just use leadwoods. They'll use whatever tree they can find, but leadwoods are often found growing in low-lying areas close to water sources, and so it is the tree they use the most. And because leadwoods are so strong with such impressive root structure, they can withstand the body of an elephant rubbing against them over a long time. Something like a marula tree, maybe, with a much softer wood, would have been pushed over or damaged by elephants over time. But this leadwood will persist and survive these aggressive attentions by elephant. Actually, I found a very tiny spider here, and I don't know if it's going to be filmable because it is so small. But just over here, if you can see it just in there, tiny, beautiful, it looks like a jumping spider, but it's got beautiful colors. Now, it's probably waiting for something to crawl around on this tree before it leaps and catches it. It's really tiny. I mean, that's literally the size of the end of a pin. It's amazing once you get closer. Craig and I were talking about how I was saying how it looks so dry and lifeless and I can't wait for the summer. And Craig said, no, when you get close, you can actually see lots of life. And he's totally right, as you can see right here. So the spider's probably not going to do much. We'll send you over to Trico, who's also at a watering hole.
Thank you so much, Mike. So, welcome back once more, everybody, to your live safari. We finally got to our own waterhole as well, as you can see around. Looking very much nice and quiet on the edges of the waterhole, but if you look right in the middle of this waterhole, you'll notice there is 2 animals in the waterhole there. Their ears sticking out, a bit of eyes sticking out. Oh, there's the one going down. And we have some hippos. I believe, for some of you that have, been joining or watching this show for quite a while, I'm sure there's been a lot of conversations in terms of how long does a hippo actually, hold his breath or can be underwater for. And, sometimes you hear people telling you 6 minutes, some 5 minutes, sometimes 7. But I think what we all need to do at this moment, how about we wait for them to go down, okay? And then see if maybe we can try to count and see how long it will actually take them up until they go up. But also just because we're here and around the waterhole, because of us, they might, probably just spend a few seconds underwater and then come up to give us a look. But let's count. Okay, I just saw one going down. Oh, okay. it's up again. Okay, it's going down again. Let's give it a few. Here we go. Okay, not that one. We're gonna wait for the other one. Yeah, so let's see. Let's see how long it will take. I hope everybody is counting.
Afternoon sessions, can I please have
Yeah, I think they're all already out by now. I think I've counted about maybe a minute or so. How long did you count there, Johan?
30 odd seconds.
Yeah. So, it pretty much shows you it basically differs, like sometimes it can get up to like 3 or 4, but as we're sitting here, we just saw, sometimes even 1 minute. So I would say there's no sort of, so, it pretty much shows you that it depends, right? So you can't really put sort of like a definite number on them. But that was quite cool, actually, to having to count that and see. And also, on the far side, on the northern side of the pen, there is some animals coming down for a drink. I believe one viewer is asking, are all these hippos related? A very good question there. I think your name is Viola, if I'm not wrong. So it'll be actually quite difficult to tell you if they are or not. But what I've seen for now, I've seen 2 youngsters. And if there's 2 youngsters there, so it's, definitely the mom is here. So I think maybe there's about 4 of them in the world, if I'm not wrong. So I would say, the 3, they are related. But with the male, they probably, if there is a male in here, probably not even related. But like generally in a waterhole, sometimes you find up to 10, even 20 different hippos that are unrelated. So yeah, it differs from waterhole to waterhole. Those impalas coming through there for a drink, I think, as I said earlier on, it's quite hot today, so they would have to eventually come for a drink. And by the looks of things, I think I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 males. And the other one that is further on the right, I can't really see clearly, but it looks like a female. But one fully grown male and adult on the further right there. All right, and I think while we're still sitting with these animals, you know, and enjoying them and see what else will come down for a drink, I'm gonna quickly send you over to Ali, because I think his trekking has paid off.
Hey. Well, it did pay off. We just decided to come and go towards the last place that they were. Oh my god, I can't even get my words out. I'm sorry, I'm gonna start over. So we left the dip and then we decided to come on the road because Philemon's Cutline and Philemon's Dip are two parts of one road, but often interchangeable when somebody's giving a report. So we've come further up on Philemon's Cutline and there he was, sleeping in all his glory, perhaps chosen the most meager piece of shade that there is in all the land. There are much nicer shady spots all around here, and as we said, it's quite hot today, maybe around about 30 degrees Celsius, which is more a summer temperature than the springtime. And he's just sleeping behind this tiny little tree, pretty much with his entire face out in the sun, and maybe just his back legs in the shade. I suspect this was not the case when he first lied down there, but now with the movement of the sun and the progression of the day, perhaps things just didn't add up quite the way he wanted them. I'm not sure how far he's come from the other property, but he's walked maybe, what would this be, like 5Ks from where he was seen crossing, and he is probably about 10Ks, if not a little bit more from where the rest of the pride is. So I'm sure he knows the Talamatis are there, and he's probably just trying to catch up with them. Would have been quite nice if we had known about him crossing earlier and we could have seen him, but alas, at least we're seeing him now. I'm hoping he won't be here for too long. He must be getting hot. If you see his stomach, he's breathing quite quickly, so he's panting, he's hot. He's trying to cool himself down as he does that. And all he would really have to do is just move into the shade of a, preferably not the car, because that would be a little bit too close to comfort for us. But there are a lot of bigger trees, and there's a big termite mound not too far from where he is. Okay, we're going full display of stomach. Thank you for letting him have some dignity there, Morgan, and zooming out. And that's basically how we spotted him. We saw this white leg in the distance, and both of us were like, is that a leg of a lion or is that a stump? Because it looks very shiny like a lion. And, well, it was a lion. Oh, are the flies bothering you? Yeah. There have been a lot of insects around, and if you look at his stomach, he's not looking incredibly skinny, but he's looking like he needs a meal. Rihanna, indeed. Dark mane doing what he does best, which is sleeping. Although, not really only dark mane. This is really what lions tend to do best, especially in hot days. They sleep, and they sleep, and they sleep. Oh yeah, I like it when you prove us wrong. Yeah, showing some physique. Although he looked like maybe he was incredibly skinny, but he's not. He was just tucking his tummy in, and just because of the position that he's lying in. But he's not looking particularly bad. I just think he hasn't eaten anything substantial for the last couple of days, and it could be why he's pressing to get to the females and wherever they might be hunting. And as we know, lions and buffaloes, or the other lions and buffalo, are not too far away. So, fingers crossed, he'll be able to get a meal tonight. I can't believe he's just now decided to lie more in the sun. There is a cool breeze that's coming across, and it makes it quite nice, or it makes it more bearable. It's quite nice for us because we have managed to put ourselves under the shade of the one marula tree that is around here, and I'm quite surprised he hasn't done the same. There are plenty of marulas on this road that will offer a little bit more shade than this very side combretum that he's under. Perhaps he's just tanning. Maybe he doesn't want to get his tail burnt.
What you're seeing there, although it's not so easy because the wind is blowing ever so gently, is the flowers from a small plant called magic guari. And it's quite a nice thing to see them flowering because it doesn't happen that often. And this plant, once it has finished flowering, hopefully has been pollinated and will produce delicious little fruits that look a lot like blueberries, except quite tart and bitter in their flavor, but very refreshing. To see those little flowers. Most of the flowers have now fallen off. Hopefully, at least some of them have had pollination to be able to create the fruits. There's been a lot of guaris flowering this year. Now, the plant itself has a number of interesting uses. This plant's scientific name is Euclea divinorum, and that is to do with the fact that certain people have claimed to have a certain power where they can divine water from this plant by taking a forked branch. See where this branch comes down and it meets over here, there's a bit of a fork. They would cut the branch just below the fork and then use the forked branch. They walk with the two branches, or the two ends of the branch in their hands, and as they walk around they feel some pressure pulling down, and that pressure pulling down is apparently supposed to indicate water. And I have met people and I have seen it done myself. I don't know whether they were just having a prior knowledge of an area, but they certainly found water under the surface. So, hey, I tend to believe in these kind of things. Now, it's got some other practical uses, non-magical. The plant itself has a long stem. I don't know if you can see. There's leaves at the top here, and if you go down, there's this long piece of stem that has no leaves or branches on it at all. So if you cut that stem low down, it's often used as a broom, or even as a fly swatter, or in extreme circumstances, as a fire beater. So that's really, really cool. This is the magic guari. So multiple uses, very cool plant, and lovely, delicious fruits. Hopefully, in a couple of months, we'll be able to try some of those fruits on screen and describe exactly how they taste.
Welcome back to Jonty and Darren's vehicle. We've come to Sydney's Dam, where there's a hippopotamus enjoying the sun. I wanted to come here because Ali said the other day she saw a tiny little baby, or calf I should say. So I thought we'd come have a look. Oh, I've got to sneeze. So you'll see that hippo there, now that's in the water, that is where the young one is. I just saw its head poking out earlier. I can't see it now. But if we keep the camera there, we might see it come up for air. It does look very, very small. Sorry, I didn't hear that, the word. Do I think hippos do what? sweat. Yes, hippos definitely sweat. That's often what gives them that like pinkish tinge, is their sweat. That's like a lot of times you'll see them lying out in the sun like this, and you might think that they're burnt, like getting sunburnt pink, but often it is actually their sort of sweat secretion that we're seeing all over their skin. There's a lot of sort of debate and theories around that sort of substance that they secrete from those special glands in their skin, whether it is actually sweat or if it's as a to sort of counteract the sun. So we're going to leave these hippos, and while we do that, you're going to have a look at the explorer's chance to win a trip to Phinda.
Calling all WildEarth explorers, we have a new and frankly awesome travel prize for you to win. andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve encompasses an impressive 28,000 hectares of protected wildlife land in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. As you have seen on WildEarth, andBeyond Phinda showcases one of the continent's finest game viewing experiences and is well known for close-up sightings of the elegant yet elusive cheetah as well as the rare black rhino. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the 16th of September, and you and a friend could be heading to the magnificent Phinda Mountain Lodge, where you will spend 3 nights escaping the real world at this ultimate safari location. WildEarth explorers, it's in your nature.
Welcome back once more, everybody. And you can see right on the edge of the waterhole there, some 2 birds just laying down there. And also where we're sitting, actually, there's a nice breeze that is coming sort of north and south. And it's actually quite nice and cooler sitting in and around this waterhole. So that's why those birds are actually sitting there, getting nice and cooler since it's quite warm. As you would imagine, if you have feathers like they do, they must probably get too warm quickly. Let's see, there's something right on the left-hand side of it, which actually looks like is that a terrapin? Just want to have a closer look, because they're quite far. Yeah, actually there's about 1, 2, 3, 4 terrapins in and around those birds. There's one that is sitting right on the side of the one that is on the left, further left, sitting right close to it. And the other ones are sitting further right on the edge of the waterhole. That's probably maybe they've been in the water for quite a while. The water started to get quite cold and they had to move out and be in the sun for a bit and try to get nice and warm. I mean, as I said earlier on, you know, there's not going to be a lot of bird activity. I mean, in this Waterhole, you'll see quite a few, but most of them are going to be settled down. But the raptors, though, because it's nice and warm and you have those thermals with this warm air levitating and going up and up, the raptors tend to catch that and go further up because, I mean, they don't have to waste a lot of energy flapping their wings, and they will glide through it and looking for possibility of food around. Victor, welcome. I'm glad that you can join us. I believe your question is, what preys on terrapins? A very good question. Victor, crocodiles would take terrapins. And a southern ground hornbill, if given the opportunity, they'll also feed on them. For the terrapins, they're always close to water, right? So, and as soon as they see there's some danger approaching, the first thing to do will be going into the water. So that is sort of like their escape from those type of dangers. So I think from here, I mean, we've had the hippos swimming around, and those Impalas earlier on coming through, and those terrapins that we just saw, and also those Egyptian goose. So I think all in all, it's been quite a very good afternoon, actually. I wasn't expecting to see quite a lot in and around this waterhole. But I think from here, I think let's try to head sort of central west. And yeah, try to find some lions in that area.
While the African bush is desperate for rain, spring is certainly in the air. Fresh green leaves are sprouting, flowers are adding color to the landscape, and many animals are preparing for the birth of their young. At the moment, large concentrations of wildlife can be found at waterholes, which are the lifeline for the animals. But soon the rains will arrive, and the bush will transform overnight. Seasonal rivers will start to flow, the bush will be filled with baby animals, and it will become a time of plenty. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and join Ali and Jonty for a special Spring Has Sprung fireside chat on the 12th of September, straight after the Sunset Safari. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
And I turned to Shaw and I saw that she had this panicked look on her face. Either she was afraid that something had happened, or she was afraid that she was going to miss out on something. But instead of her missing out on those lions, we drove up next to them and I switched off the car so that she could hear what was going on. Now, these lions had killed a kudu, and she could hear these two cubs, both 8 months old at the time, busy pushing and shoving each other out the way to get to the best parts of the meat. And the mom was lying just to the side in the shade. Now, I'd known that before losing her sight, Sean probably knew what a lion looked like. But I really wanted her to know what this lion looked like. So for the first time in my guiding career, I started to describe to someone what a lion looked like. And I found that, I started to notice things in that lion that I'd never seen before.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is the call of desperation with a cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oh!
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Well, it's become a bit of a challenge, actually. I want to see how long he resists out in the open sun before he decides to move. He's not even in the shade anymore. He's just fluffed onto the other side. And the breeze is definitely helping cool everything down, but I would have assumed that he would have moved somewhere else to make himself more comfortable a little while ago. Either that, or perhaps he's so tired that he just didn't really care and then flopped down in the first tree or almost shady spot that he found. Like we said, it's an odd place to choose to lie down. Also, it seems like he's got a twig against his head. Not sure I would give you enough brownie points for comfort there. Sally, for starters, male lions and a pride of females are not always together, so they do spend time together and they socialize and they have certain bonds that they strengthen over time, but it's not always that the male will be with the pride of females. Now, in this case, Darkmane has been spending a lot of time with the Talamatis, but I think it's been more likely than not due to a necessity in his part to have more access to kills. He's got an injury that we assume happened because of a hunting or a buffalo hunt incident, and his foot likely broke, or one of the bones in his foot broke, and then it didn't set properly, so he walks with a limp. Now, it doesn't seem like he is too hindered about it. He is limited for sure, because he doesn't walk as far as maybe what other male lions would do, and you can see whenever he starts walking or it's a cold morning that he struggles a little bit, and then as he warms up, he's okay. He's walked a lot in the last couple of days, just from what we've been able to see, but I think in this case he's trying to get to the Talamatis because he came from a different direction and he seems to be heading straight towards where the Talamatis were calling this morning. But it's interesting if he's going in that direction, and Morgan did indeed see a male lion, which we're not sure about yet, and the jury's still out on this one. Was early, maybe he hadn't had enough coffee, we don't know. If he's going to the Talamatis and they do have another big adult male lion with them, it can lead to a fight between the two males for dominance. If the males are not related, and if they're roughly the same area or in the same age, very likely and they will end up fighting. Male lions don't tolerate, or they really don't get along with other male lions in the area unless they're somehow related or part of their coalition. Because coalitions of lions can also form between males that are unrelated to one another. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know if maybe you guys can help me out and let me know. I don't know if Junti saw a big male lion when he saw the lions just now, a couple of minutes ago, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot more going on. And if that big male lion is not there, then he should be fine to go back to the Talamatis, as it wouldn't be too much to worry about. But there are another 3 males, I would say, that he needs to worry about that have slowly been coming more and more into this area. So we've got the 2 Kruger males that are, of course, coming from Kruger in the eastern side. And then there's the S8 male that's coming also sort of from Kruger, Manileti, so kind of northwestern side. So we'll have to see who's coming. And I've seen prides of females before. No. So Junti says there wasn't another male lion there this morning. Morgan says he was too busy looking at the Impala that he missed the male lion. I don't know what to say anymore. Morgan swears he saw a fully grown male lion through binoculars. Morgan, the evidence is stacked against you, but I admire, your resilience and your passion that you did see a male lion. It's okay if you imagined it, it's fine. He did see the rest of the pride, so I've been asking him, maybe didn't you see one of the young male lions and you wanted to see a male so bad that you imagined the rest of the mane? Maybe there was some glow around its neck, I don't know. But no. So we don't really know if there's another male lion around. There could be that there was one, if we want to give Morgan the benefit of the doubt and maybe just carried on coming into this direction. New area, he hasn't really been here. The pride is dragging him along. Maybe he left them and moved off somewhere else. Seems like Mike has found something interesting on bushwalk, so let's head over to him to find out what it is.
Interesting indeed. We've managed to find a little tiny creature that is, I always consider, the most proficient and aggressive hunter in all of the insect kingdom. This is a small mantis, some sort of mantis, and I'm not sure which one. Perhaps still a young mantis because it's very, very small, but perfectly camouflaged amongst the leaves of this magic quarry. I mean, when you look at it, it's really exactly the same shade of green, and even the legs and parts of its abdomen are the exact same shade of grey-brown as the sticks and branches. And it's right now watching carefully with its very, very sensitive large eyes for any movement at all. I have been seeing a few insects running up and down the stem of this quarry. Now, those insects are ants, which are not the favorite prey of mantis. Of course, flies and other beetles, maybe even moths would be perfect, or even spiders. An ant doesn't have a lot of, let's say, fluid in its body, and it can spray chemicals. A lot of ants have acid that they can spray in defense, so it's not particularly keen on hunting those, but it is an absolutely perfect ambush predator. It can remain still for hours and hours. Now, as you look at it, the abdomen is at the top and the head is at the bottom there. And it's got its front arms, those weapons, those where it gets its name, praying mantis, because it's curved its arms up in a praying position, waiting to strike like lightning. These things have an interesting life cycle, or rather mating. If this is a female, she will release some sort of a pheromone that will attract males. Males will then approach and they'll, oh, she's on the move, or it's on the move. There it goes. Look at those long legs, carefully moving like a leaf blowing in the wind. Do you see that? To remain undetected. That kind of movement, ooh, that's so cool. I'm sure Craig is getting some wonderful close-ups of this creature as it moves up into a more sheltered position behind these leaves. Now, it's pretty hidden, although, Craig, if you come this side, you can see it beautifully. I don't know if it's going to work. But wow, this thing is so beautiful. You can really see its abdomen now when you look at the top of its abdomen. I'll just point it out for Craig so you can see it. Do you see the end of my stick there, Craig? Oh, it's focusing on my stick. Just over there. Look what it's doing. It's reaching. It's going to reach over. Oh, did you see that? It struck at my stick. No way. I've never seen one do that before. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Look how it's moving. Oh, look at that. It struck again. I'm going to move my stick away now. But did you see how quickly they strike? And now my stick is very hard. But an insect that it might have been trying to catch would have a soft body, and those quick arms will quickly grab its body and hold it tight so that its little biting mouthparts, they've got very small mouthparts, but look at those sensitive eyes already focusing on the stick as I bring it around this side. I'll just move slowly. I don't want to frighten it, but look at it swaying like that. Wait for it, wait for it. Watch this. Oh, wow, that's so cool. I've never seen it do that before. This thing is an absolutely phenomenal creature. I love mantises, and this is a small mantis, but we get giant mantises as well, which will be probably over nearly 20 centimeters. Well, that's a bit big. Maybe more than 10 centimeters long. This one here is only about 2 centimeters. What a spectacular creature. And what a gem of a creature to find. Oh, wasn't expecting that. Just goes to show you got to get down right into these bushes to see these creatures.
Welcome back, everybody. So we are still heading to the area of the lions. They were reported this morning, actually, further south and east. As I said, I think the chances are they're just sleeping there, not doing much. And I want us to actually drive past some few clearings here, because clearings like that might attract certain animals, like your wildebeest, even zebras as well. Oh, talking about impalas, there's some right in front of us here. As I would have expected, all running away. But anyway, maybe we might see more in that area where we're going. And there's some nice open few clearings there, so let's go give it a try. Let's see. All right. We are basically about to cross the Dibavati riverbed. And also as we cross through, let's look out for sort of any signs of elephants. Oh, here we go. And the reason why I said looking out for any signs of elephants, because in this dry riverbed, even though it looks dry on the surface, but underground there is a lot of water, so these elephants like visiting this area. And they will be sometimes dig for water. Oh wow, did you guys hear that? Quite a very large or loud noise. Just here again, there's elephants screaming further south and east of us. I think we're gonna go a little bit down this riverbed. There's elephants really close by to us here, and I don't want us to be right in the middle of them, especially when they have youngsters. You know, you need to give them a bit of space to move. So I'm gonna go stop on the other side of the riverbed and see if maybe we can have a view from there. All right, let's go. Let's get down to the riverbed and have a view of them, because this elephant is very close to us on the other side. Oh, there's one here. This will be better, actually. That's a very big elephant there. And if you look on the top of the head, you'll see it's sort of like square in terms of shape. So this is a female there. You'll notice she has a bit of, not even a bit, like quite a huge Anyway, we're gonna wait for a little bit here, and I'm gonna send you over to Matt. So long.
Welcome back to Phinda, everyone, where we didn't have much luck on the lion front, so we've come down to the floodplain, which I'm sure you would have seen on previous episodes with Chad, one of the other guards, maybe Grant or Damon. But yeah, a beautiful little section of the reserve tucked away in the eastern corner. And we're doing a little bit of birding. Odie had a black-winged stilt in picture. There's a small little flock of pied avocets in the middle of your picture now as well, all huddled together. It is really, really windy. You can see just on the surface of the water there how quickly it's moving off to the left. But those very unique birds with that upturned bill, count there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. There was the 7th just out of picture as well. Really, really interesting looking little birds. Interesting fishing action as well, or where they go about hunting when they move their head side to side in the water. And the one that's lying flat now has its head resting almost directly on its back. A very interesting little bird on the right hand side of this lot as well. Oh look, it's just taken off. I think I know what that is, but I'm just going to double check in the book quickly and make 100% sure. To me, like a collared pratincoll, as it took off there. I just have to have another squiz through the binoculars now. But it's landed in thicker vegetation. You can just see, yeah, there it goes again. Very white rump, and on its face you should see that very distinct collar if it turns to face us. If you're asking what is the most populated bird of prey here on Phinda, well, I guess all seasonal now. This time of year we're starting to see a lot more yellow-billed kites, as well as tawny eagles. We get quite a few battaliers as well. Occasionally we see martial eagles fairly regularly. A really special one here for Phinda is a southern banded snake eagle. I'm not sure if you've seen that before, but a really, really special bird to tick off. I say special because there are only about 50 breeding pairs of them left in southern Africa, and Phinda is one of the places that we know they breed. Looking off to our right hand side here as well, just out of picture, are 2 pelicans that are flying around. Hopefully they come to join us in a short but huge birds. Just making the last of these windy conditions are actually flying away from us at the moment, but I'm sure Odie will put them in picture for you soon. Really magic spot. There's a herd of wildebeest, some warthog, as well as zebra here, and this is one of the only places that we've seen the yellow-billed oxpecker, so we're going to keep looking for that. Spend some time here on the floodplain.
Well, we just managed to miss some ground hornbills. Let me just reposition the car. They're busy feeding through this open area that we call quarantine. Okay. Let me go a little bit further, Darren.
My system is more towards the west now from where it was initially.
So we're just going to zoom in on them. They're busy walking, feeding along here. They've got such sharp eyesight. Those eyes, eh? Long eyelashes, really sharp eyes. And just cruising through quarantine here, looking, they'll eat snakes, lizards, insects, small mammals. I've seen one catch a baby, a young scrub hare. Just pretty intense. Oh, look at those eyes, eh? Hey everybody, so we've just done a loop around back towards quarantine where we found these two ground hornbills just cruising through the open area. I'm hoping we're going to get lucky enough to see one catch something. Interesting, these both look like males. I wonder if they've not recently sort of broken away in the hope of finding a female. Amazing thing about these hornbills, they will stay with their parents until they sort of find an opportunity to go off, and they will help subsequent chicks. And they've been recorded helping their parents for 35 years before they would move off. I mean, that is unbelievable. And I think they told us that amazing beak of theirs, when they take food back to the chicks, I think someone's recorded one with 7 different things in its beak at one time. Imagine while we were watching it if we got to see it catch a snake or something. I can hear some dwarf mongooses shouting. I reckon if they got sight of a very young dwarf mongoose, they'd definitely eat that thing. I do love the way they walk. Like, imagine someone inspecting Sarah with their hands behind their back. Their call, it's like a... I don't know how well that came through. Let me play the call. I'll play the proper call. I don't know if I was too far away, but yeah. I think the actual one was a bit better. And And that sound, it carries far. It often catches people out because it sounds from a distance. It sounds like lions roaring. Come on, catch something for us. We'll just watch this hornbill a little bit longer, but you're going to head over to Ali and see if Dark Mane is still breathing.
He's still there and he's still out in the sun, which is very unusual. I did not expect him to do that, and now I just kind of see if he will go stay like this the entire afternoon. I mean, what time is it now? South African time, it's 17 past 4. So the hottest part of the day is done, and it should be getting cool enough now where most of the creatures would decide to get up and move. But I don't know what he's done. I don't know what time he stopped moving this morning. We do know that he was moving in this direction, or he was seen crossing around about 7 in the morning onto Djuma side from gallivanting somewhere in the west. Don't know who he associated with over there, but it seems like maybe he was with one of the young females of the Djuma Pride. I will have to double check that information, so please don't quote me on it. It might not be the case. But today he's definitely on his way back to the Talamati. So I was kind of hoping he would get up and then go in that direction. As we know, the buffalo have gone for a drink. The lions are still sleeping, and he's not far, so he could actually make it before the end of drive if he decided to get up and go in that direction. Will he though? I'm not sure. He's sleeping out in the open too. So clearly it's not too hot for him. When we first started the drive, it was incredibly hot for us, and maybe we're all a little bit sunburned from going and darting to that buffalo this afternoon in between drives and take the snare off of it. We all caught a bit of sun, so maybe that's why we're feeling the sun more than the lion. But still, odd choosing, odd place to be. And we always wonder what it would feel like to just be able to flop down and sleep knowing that very likely nothing else is going to come and disturb you, or that you cannot get eaten by anything else 90% of the time. It must be a nice feeling. We'll just be able to switch off and sleep at will. Seems like Matt is having all the fun today at the Waterhole. Let's see what else he's found for us.
Welcome back to Phinda, everyone. Ali, you're not wrong. We are having a lot of fun here at the washing hole. We're trying to bird count up this afternoon with all of these new birds incoming. Having a look at the zebra in the distance. Just keeping an eye out for that yellow-billed oxpecker. That one on the left there, tucked behind the bush that we can just see the backside of, has a couple of oxpeckers on it. But at a distance just too far for me to tell whether or not it's the yellow-billed on its back. If I look there on Odie's picture, those two both look like red-billed oxpeckers as the light caught them as they turned there. The yellow-billed slightly bigger, and obviously just that distinct yellow-bill that separates it from the red as it walks off out of picture. Also maybe a little bit camera shy. Also hoping this is a really good area for something like a marsh harrier or African marsh harrier to do some low-level flying in search of its next meal. But really, really windy still. I'm sure you can hear it from where you are sitting at home. You saw those pelicans, man, in the distance. Might not be a bad idea for us to just now take a little bit of a drive there to see if we can't get a picture of them for you. But yeah, really, really big herds of wildebeest and zebra out here. All busy grazing this afternoon. Every so often when it rains, though we're coming up to that time of year as well, towards the end of the year when we get our rains, this area becomes really, really popular with elephants. And they cross out of the woodlands off on the left-hand side into these open areas, and they cross it at such high speeds before they head back into the woodlands and slow things down again to carry on feeding. But you can just imagine a big herd of elephants crossing here in picture with the fever trees in the distance. A really good area to look for something like waterbuck as well. Again, having the scan now, I haven't had any luck seeing them. It's not a bad place for rhino either out in this area, but in windy conditions like these, they're probably tucked away in the woodlands where it's a little bit more sheltered. Everyone just commenting on how beautiful the Phinda scenery is. It is. This particular part of Phinda is really, really scenic. I know a lot of Chad is probably sitting watching at home. Love to come down and film because it really is a special part of this reserve, and there's often things down here for us to film. There was a fever tree. It's back behind us now, but one of the many occasions a leopard in a fever tree was also down here on the Floodplain, which is also really, really special to see. We don't have the populations that guys like Trico or any of the other guys in the Lowveld do. So not really forced to hoist carcasses in trees and the like. So, when we do see a leopard, it is really special. But out here, one in a fever tree was a really magical moment. We're going to spend some more time here on the floodplain, see if we can't get another view of those pelicans in the distance, and see what else comes down to the water this afternoon.
Here at the Advanced Rifle Handling Challenge, which is actually lots of challenges in one to gauge the contestants' skills at different distances and different speeds. This is probably the challenge that the contestants are the most nervous about. So let's get them locked and loaded. buffaloes are now doing the Hades halt, where they have to run back and forth to a target, turn, take aim, and shoot. And this simulates a chase in the real environment and gets the heart pumping and the blood pressure up. James gave us a demonstration, and the skill involved in this exercise is remarkable.
Welcome back with John T and Darren. So we did a bit of a loop. We kind of are actually killing time a little bit because we want to go back to those lions once it gets a little bit cooler and see what sort of activity they get up to. Like I said, I think it's unlikely that they're going to follow the... Oh, sorry, fell. That looks like a fresh elephant dropping. Maybe there are some elephants nearby. But I think it's unlikely that those lions are going to go for the buffalo just because of how they've passed each other. But you never know, they might try catch something else. Even if they're not going to catch something, they might just get up and move, walk, even give us a bit of yawning. That will be pretty good, but we're waiting. It's now 28 past 4, I think closer to 5, and the temperature's going to turn, and that's when we might start getting a bit more activity. We did go to check on Tavangumi, the male leopard. He's still there in the same spot with his kill. We were hoping that he would go towards Sydney's dam to have a drink. Maybe he'll go later. Often after feeding they'll go, and we tried our hardest to get in a signal patch there. We were parking next to trees to see if the trees would bounce signal on top of termite mounds. We reversed, we did sideways, we tried everything, but unfortunately we couldn't get signal there. But that's fine, we'll find another leopard. So we're actually coming back now towards Djuma Dam from the southern side. Let's see if we get spoilt by something actually at the water. What do you reckon, Darren? Okay. Darren reckons we're going to see an orca. I'm not too sure what Darren has been eating. Oh, there's a buffalo! Oh, there's some impala. Let's just get up on the damn wall here. Oh, that buffalo is lagging. He's far behind. Oh, I actually want to look at him. He looks like he might have a bit of a wound on his rump there. Oh my goodness. Check at that guy. Can you see that, Darren? Oh, he's got a nice big wound on his left rump there. You can see he's walking quite gingerly. Shame, man. Interesting though, that rip, I wonder if it's from something like a lion's claw. I'm actually just going to go across the dam, see if we can get a closer look. He's walking towards a road there. It'd be interesting to see. With the binoculars, it looked like we could see where there were maybe some claw marks over his back. But now that is the type of thing that these lions, they would be all over that, especially if it's one they got before. But yeah, that wound looks like it has had a couple days of healing. It doesn't look like it's fresh, so I don't think it's from sort of last night. So I'm just going to go past him so we're not looking into the sun, and then we'll let him come and walk past us. Hopefully he's not too grumpy. Let's see what happens here. I'm just gonna... No, dude, you gotta come the other side. So you can see this buffalo is very skinny. And he looks on his side of his coat. Looks like a noughts and crosses board. Lots of old scratches and scars. Look at that. This is a proper old bruiser. I'm going to just reposition again, because I would love for him, when he does walk past, for us to be able to see that wound.
How many vehicles on Portwood?
Kim, that is a good question. It's a bit of a bizarre name, isn't it? The red-billed buffalo weaver. You would think that they should be hanging out on the buffaloes all the time. But it's more just a bizarre link of having the same name. I'm not even sure why the buffalo weaver has got that name, if it's just because it's black. I'm sure it doesn't have the same reputation with hunters that the actual buffalo does have. Oh, okay. I guess we're not going to see that wound. Hayley, that's not normal to see. When you do see that, then either she would have been injured or there would have been some sort of commotion and she's somehow been separated from the herd. But you don't often see single cows walking by themselves. I have seen before, like, a bachelor group of bulls be joined by one female. But I think that's normally then, like that scenario, they would have been separated from the herd in a chase or something like that, and then they've just joined up with the bulls, because safety in numbers is definitely a thing. I wonder if we go, I don't know, I think it's too close to the edge of the bank. I'm going to try and look at that wound. I'm just going to try and get us in a better position. While we just try reposition, you're going to head over to Trico's. Found a bird of prey that he would like to show you.
Welcome back, everybody. So while we're still heading to the area of the lions that I promised we're going to look for, we just came across these spectacular bird sitting high up in a tree there. as you can see on your screens. And you will notice the feathers in around the neck, quite light in color, and the face actually really dark. And the beak as well. And that is a white-backed vulture sitting high up on the tree there. And I mean, you would think, because of the heat, you know, this particular bird will be probably try to be out of the heat. Maybe somewhere where there's a bit of shade. But the reason why it's sitting there is because it has something to protect there. So the sun at this moment doesn't matter. So right below it, even though I don't think you can see because of all those branches there, it's actually sitting on a nest there. It's probably eggs in there, or even chicks. It's quite difficult to see because of those branches on the way. On the edge of that tree is actually, that tree is close to a riverbank of the Timbawati. So most of the trees along the riverbanks in and around this river, they're quite tall and nice and green. So basically what happens is, as I said earlier on, those elephants that we had earlier on, there's a lot of water in and around in these areas, which is why these trees are quite tall in these areas and nice and green. And these vultures basically take advantage of that. I mean, they really, really like to make their nests on trees that are really, really tall. Forest Monarch, welcome. I'm glad that you can join us. So are you asking, is this a white-headed vulture? A very good question, but it is not a white-headed vulture. This is a white-backed vulture. You know, the white-headed vulture, actually, the white on the head will be actually very prominent. But this is a white-backed. Very good question there. Alright, I think we're going to leave this bird be up on that tree. I'm going to still be heading west. I'm going to cross the riverbed again and slowly make our way to the area where the lions were reported. Right, the sun is now starting to get a little bit cooler. So maybe, just maybe when we get to the lions, they might probably, well, if we do find them, probably start to maybe even move about.
Well, we've decided to leave Dargmain, who had actually a herd of wildebeest not too far from where he was, but he was not bothered or interested. And we've come exploring Chitwa Dam. So we haven't actually made it to the dam yet. We were just checking around the area just to see if perhaps Dani has come around somewhere around this area. It would have been nice if she had, but it doesn't seem like she is. Maybe she's in the far eastern corner of Chitwa. She was seen there yesterday morning, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or not her, but her tracks, when we had Maribes. And we were just commenting now, Shasha was found pretty far into Buffelshoek, and he was apparently down here at Chitwa yesterday with Darren and Jonty. So he's actually missioned from one extreme to the other, basically, in order to find food and, I don't know, become invisible. I'm not too sure what he was up to. But That, on the other hand, leaves creatures like the water bug that we're seeing now very happy. They have those beautiful heart-shaped noses, and they are one of the most, or perhaps they are the most water-dependent antelope that we get in this area. They have to drink daily, and they're never too far from Tswalu Dam, which is the biggest dam in the area and the one that will always have water. So it's not uncommon to see lots of fluffy water buck around Tswalu Dam. And they have this very unique, it's very strong smell. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like diluted petrol. Something not as strong, but almost has a scent like that. That's the way that I find that they smell. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Seems like we've got a group of girls here. A bachelorette herd. That's what I'm gonna call them. Oh, there's this radio coming. Alrighty. I'm just gonna put that radio down. Seems like it's been a fairly quiet day. Not too much has been happening on this side, so we decided to come and see if maybe Thandi was playing a sneaky one somewhere around here with Mareeps. They are known for doing that kind of stuff, so why not? Maybe they were.
Okay, so we did a little loop around. The buffalo did get up and we saw it looks like he's got a hole. So I wonder if it's not from a horn, from another male. Maybe they had a bit of a disagreement, but he's gone off and he's walking up more in line with where the lions are than where the rest of the herd went. But shame, I didn't want to like harass him. The poor buffalo is clearly in a bit of pain. So we'll just leave him do what he wants to do. And we're going to take this road that we're on and do a nice loop around and get back. I think our timing will be good. Hopefully the lions will maybe be doing something. And we'll take it from there. But yeah, I mean, these buffaloes, if they're not having to deal with lions jumping on their back, they've got to deal with the competition of other males, and they can really sort of beat each other up. Sometimes you'll even see when lions do hunt them, if they get on a buffalo, if they actually get on it, a number of lions, you'll see other buffaloes
Alright, welcome back everybody. So we just find some more Impalas here. There's one that's going to come out of the bushes. Oh, running away. And I actually wanted to show you something if they don't really disappear into the bushes. But if you look on the back legs, you'll see there's that black tuft. Can you see that? Alright, I think I'm gonna... Okay, there it is, another one coming off. So that black tuft that you see there, it is actually quite special to the Impalas, right? The only animal out here that has that, which is quite special. So let me go reverse back a little bit more and see if we can see them, but otherwise I think they are going to disappear into some bushes there. One moment, try to reposition here. So that, what I was showing you earlier on, that is basically a gland, which is called a metatarsal gland. Yeah, I think they just disappeared behind these bushes here. But I can see one. Okay, they're gonna come out now. So basically what happens is when they run, you know, the gland expands just a tiny little bit and comes back, expands and comes back again, and they release a lot of sand as they run, all right? For example, the lions that we are looking for, if they come across them and chase them, obviously they will all scatter. And while that land is releasing that scent, by the time when they have to regroup, that's the scent they follow to come back together, which is very, very special to these animals. And I once got asked a question like, why, if it's, this land is efficient, if it works really, really well, why don't other animals have it? Let's go a little bit more forward. Yeah, I think they just disappeared. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I understand it's quite warm, so that's why they're heading into some. Just reverse this back and head to the direction where we're going. So yeah, I got asked questions like, yeah, why don't the other animals have that if it's that efficient, if it works that very well? And I always say each and every animal here is unique, You'll notice these antelopes, each and every one of them have their own way in terms of like helping to find each other or even to protect themselves. Sarah, welcome. I believe your question is, are impalas safer if they are in a herd? I would say yes. I think they are safer. Actually, yes and no. Because, for example, like if a leopard is, gonna hunt them, whether they are in a group or not, it will still chase after them. It's not like being in a herd will stop these other animals from hunting them. But the amazing thing about it being in a group is because you have more eyes around, right? So what will happen is if, for example, they're in a herd and a leopard or a lion is hunting them, and one start to alarm call, so alerting the rest to say, hey, there's something there that could potentially cause harm to us. We need to move. So as soon as they see that, they're gonna all start and get away from that area. So I think while we're still heading in this area, I'm gonna send you over to Janti. I think he's on a bamboo.
Okay, so we are now driving on this is the fire break that the Talamatis were on this morning. And we just saw some warthogs run across from the other side of the road. And they're running towards the lions, but we're still a bit of a distance, but I can't see them now, but they may just run into the jaws of the Talamatis. So I actually marked where we were at the dam with the buffalo in the direction he was walking, so that now when I do get back to where these lions are, we can sort of figure out which direction that buffalo will be coming from. Where did these warthogs go? That could be a very poor life choice from the warthogs to run straight into a pride of sleeping lions. Mind you, I have seen that happen before, and the lions get as big a fright as the warthogs get, and they actually get away. I think that's the term. Let's see now. Oh, the trouble is if they're lying flat, Yeah. Oh, there's a lion there. Can you get it from here? Let's see. So just see what we kind of see. On the side of a timber mountain, there's just the side of a head in the shade. Oh, those warthogs were close, but not close enough, luckily for them. But I think we'll probably just settle in here and wait it out now. I want to check on the map the direction of that buffalo.
Okay then. Go ahead. From the small sign, just gonna exit. Small sign has the goal. If you turn to the north.
Yeah, if the buffalo goes the way it was going, it will come straight to where we are. Let me try and get us in here so you can get a slightly better view, other than the lion's ear or the lion's furnishings, as some books tell you. The furnishings of the cat's ear. Well, we just try and get in here. Just bear with me.
The Masai Mara in Kenya is an iconic wilderness filled with life. Its inspirational beauty has captivated our hearts on WildEarth for many years. While this season of the world's greatest migration has been missed, WildEarth is preparing a spectacular comeback in 2022. For the first time ever, WildEarth will be running expeditions to Kenya's Masai Mara throughout the 2022 migration season. Hosted by David Githu and Isaac Rotich, you could be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration with the world, live on WildEarth's daily safaris. If you're interested, then head over to our website to find out more.
We got there, he had probably moved a couple of hundred meters down the river and was about 10 meters from this causeway. So I radioed the lodge quickly and just asked them to bring a land cruiser around and some tow straps. So we thought we were going to try be heroes and save this giraffe. And now a big bull, probably over a ton, he's a big unit. Got the tow strap one side of the giraffe and managed to get it around him with the boat, and the other edge of the tow strap obviously back onto the bank. So we made this U around him because he was lying quite close to the bank. And yeah, we put that Land Cruiser in low range and we just gave it hell and pulled that giraffe, and the tow strap slipped up and we thought, oh no, it's going to slip off the top of the head, and it caught on his ossicones top. And that last 10 meters pulled him out onto the bank, and he battled. He was obviously quite weak and all that.
I've seen something I've never seen here before. Look at these cubs. One is crossing the river. It's being washed away, unfortunately, but I'm sure the mother is going to save her. Look at that. How beautiful. Look at that. One crossing, two to go.
seems like we've caught up with the female and her little ones. So we've got all the guinea fowl around us. I'm just going to have to duck my head here so that I'm not in Morgan's shot. And we've got all the guinea fowl that are busy looking for food, potentially looking for little grass seeds all around there. Also being fairly sociable. As we start going into the mating season, then we're going to start seeing them, or particularly the males, be more aggressive to one another. And we won't have as many big groups until the little chicks are born. We're likely going to be finding them in pairs. Not to bother about all of this nonsense are the warthogs that are over here. Good to see that the mother still has her two youngsters. Doesn't seem like either one of them or her have been caught by any potential predators. Now, a warthog like this would have been a good meal for Shasha, but also with the mother around and her big tusks, it's not an easy feat. And young male leopards, at least I haven't seen them try their luck with warthog too much. I think warthogs, particularly bigger warthogs, are a meal that is more specialized for bigger, more experienced adults. I thought she was going to turn around, but she didn't. And they're all on their knees feeding on all the shrubs and all the grass. It's a good spot, this one. I'm not sure if it's coming through on your screen, but it's a lot greener than everything else around us. And it's because we're not too far from the dam, and likely with the recent rains that we've had, and because the Molowanini and the Molowati, I think they both flooded this year or had enough water, then around here it indicates that there's a lot of underground water. So everything is greener on this side, which is making the warthogs very happy. And it's not the first time we've seen them eating in here. So they also know where to go and find things that are a bit more nutritious than what they would find if they were to go, for example, to the open area straight in front of the dam. Right, I'm going to leave them to their meal, to their snack, merienda, as we say in Spanish. And I'm going to head onto the dam. I agree, being with warthogs that aren't running away is a real treat. It doesn't happen all that often. So we're not going to overstay our welcome. We're just going to carry on driving past them, sorry guys, so that next time when we come around, they'll still want to be with us and be our friends. And I'm going to have to jump out here because I see a lot of the elephants have done funny things in there. I'm going to head to the dam, see what's out there, but in the meantime, let's have a look at the prize that you could win and head to Phinda.
Calling all WildEarth explorers, we have a new and frankly awesome travel prize for you to win. andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve encompasses an impressive 28,000 hectares of protected wildlife land in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. As you have seen on WildEarth, andBeyond Phinda showcases one of the continent's finest game viewing experiences and is well known for close-up sightings of the elegant yet elusive cheetah, as well as the rare black rhino. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the 16th of September, and you and a friend could be heading to the magnificent Phinda Mountain Lodge, where you will spend 3 nights escaping the real world at this ultimate safari location. WildEarth explorers, it's in your nature.
So we just moved around a little bit. We're trying to get ourselves in a little bit of shade. The sun's still got a bit of sting in it, but the lions are all in the good shade. There's been a little bit of yawning, head moving. The one male actually got up just now and moved position. I don't know if you heard that, but the one lion is actually snoring. The one whose nose is next to the other one's foot. I'm just going to sit very quiet. I want you to hear it snoring.
Right, coming right. Mike, 25. Do you have any Djuma fish?
Oh, what a pity. It was snoring. You could just hear. Oh, look at that one's fur as it's bent over. It looks like a Shar-Pei. That is one heck of a position to get your body into. There's some flies busy bothering them. The light in that one's eyes when it turns. Oh, let's be cool. Be cool. I think he's being harassed by some insects there. I'm glad he did move because now we get to see them sitting up. We're going to head over to Mike, who's currently on a bushwalk.
So we did relocate slightly to see if we could figure out what was alarm calling, but we had no luck, so we've come back to the dam to find our 2 Egyptian goose sitting on the exposed logs in the center of the dam, probably about to make a lot of noise as we sneak and creep along the dam wall, trying to get into a better position. I'm going to have another look at that carcass as well, just to see what's up. Look at the goose, actually. One of them is standing on one leg, which is always so interesting. So a lot of birds will stand on one leg to reduce the surface area of the exposed skin on the legs. And that way, they either keep their legs warm and insulated, or they keep them out of the sun and heating up. Watch your head there, Craig. Oh dear. Let me just help Craig there. He's just had a bit of a kerfuffle with his aerials. But as we get around the corner, you'll see the one goose. He's now putting his leg down. But it's a very effective technique for keeping their bodies warm or cool. And then just behind the geese there, you can see that little grebe busy preening itself in the water. Oh, there goes the goose into the water. Goodbye. And the little grebe there to the right. Often mistaken for chicks of the goose, but they're not at all related. Well, they're, I guess, related that they're water birds. But they're different. The geese are mostly eating invertebrates and vegetation, and the odd frog. But the little grebe is a fish eater, mostly. Fish and frogs, but mostly fish. Actually well known, the little grebe, well known to eat their own feathers. Some of their own feathers, the small downy feathers on the breast. And it helps to cushion their crop against all the sharp little bones of the fish that they eat, which is quite clever. All the grebes are known for that. That's what the family is well known for. Now I can have another look at this carcass of the buffalo. So weird. So that carcass is actually upside down from what I can see. I wonder if it will change tomorrow. We'll come back and see if there's any change in its position. But in the meantime, we'll send you to one of the other live locations and see what other exciting animals have been found.
Welcome back to Phinda, everybody, where we have just found a white rhino and her calf. Have a look at how small and cute that little calf is. Only just started developing that little bump of its horn, so just a couple of months old and minute. You can see in these windier conditions just how much they listen out for. More so, I suppose Mom would do that regardless because she's got such a young calf, but very, very alert in these windier conditions this afternoon. Lovely little bit of light coming through as well. And just to see that youngster is amazing. Have a look at that tail. Looks like one happy little rhino. It was lying down when we came across it and then got up in the last couple of minutes, slowly but surely keeping up with Mom, who there in picture is quite a bit larger than that youngster. Mom got her head down now, feeding, stopping every so often. You can see those long, wide, rectangular lips, characteristic of the white rhino, and then that little youngster in picture. Unbelievable and super special to see. Quite curious at a young age as well, as that little one comes a little bit closer towards us. And you can see that little quarry behind Mom's head still moving about quite a bit, so still really, really windy. Maybe the wind has dropped a little bit since earlier, but there is still that wind that they've got to contend with. So she's got her head down and every so often just picks it up to smell and listen. Really, really small eyes in comparison to the size. Let's lay down and have a look at that. It almost just disappears in that long grass. And Mom's nose, as she turned like that, seemed quite wet, and that's just to keep the nostrils clear of dust and things like that. That would be quite a bit more dusty on a windy afternoon like today. It's really, really dry out here, so just to keep those clear so she can smell potential threats that might be around. And at such a young age, I think hyena might be of a threat, but other rhino, you never know if there's a territorial bull around, and even lions with such a small calf. But because Mom's so big and defend that calf with all she has, it's quite a risky business for them. There's just those ears sticking out of the grass there. And that very distinct muscle mass at the back of the head as well, just to help support that head that's always down. I might just leave these two in peace for this afternoon, or for the afternoon, and see what else we can find. Maybe go into an area where we've got a potential of finding a leopard.
Welcome back, everybody. And as you can see right in front of us, there's a bird sitting there. Actually, if you look at the colors of the tree and look at the colors of the bird, they actually complement each other. So this bird is very, very well camouflaged where it is. And look at those eyes. bright yellow eyes, a little bit of black and white spots on it. And there is a pale spotted owlet sitting there. There it is now, looking on the ground. Just listening and looking and see maybe there's any movements on the ground of things like rodents that it might try to catch. And look at the back of the head. Oh, just turned around now. They have sort of like these false eyes on the back of the head, which is actually quite smart for a bird if you think about it, because like whatever that is going to come from behind it will think that the bird is actually looking at it, but it's actually not. And that is a very good hunting spot there, you know, like very well camouflaged. And whatever it's going to catch, it's going to surprise it, because you almost cannot even see it in there.
We're catching up with an old friend, or perhaps, you know, Morgan's mortal enemy. We're not too sure. He still believes that the impala should have made crocodile shoes. But if you were watching a couple of days ago, we suspect this is the same crocodile that we had trying to get to the impala that was stuck on the island. Now, right next to the crocodile, we have found some piece of evidence that indicates that perhaps this was not the first impala to get stranded on that island, and not the first impala that the crocodile has actually enjoyed eating. I've never noticed this before there, so I'm not too sure how long it's been on there. But it could be that it was indeed because somebody unfortunately died or was eaten on the island, or sometimes when we have a lot of water that comes through, and if it almost floods or if there's a lot of rainwater, then things get just transported onto the dam and then they just suddenly appear in areas where they shouldn't even be. So I suspect, however, that someone met their end on this island, and that's why it's impossible to deny that there's a crocodile right next to it, besides the obvious fact. But all dogs chasing impala, or maybe even hyenas or other creatures, the impala know that if they come into the water, there's a good chance that that particular predator is not going to carry on following them. So if they can just get to the island, they'll be fine. However, the problem is that there are also predators in the water, such as the crocodiles. So as we saw the other day, I'm not sure what made the impala or that impala that they jump. I thought maybe it got a fright because the crocodile was trying to hunt them and then she jumped in the wrong direction, because we hadn't had any reports for anything going after the impala in this area. And then eventually, when the crocodile went onto the other side of the island, then the impala jumped around here and then just came out roughly where we are parked now and then just carried on running. Suspect is still running. It was a scary encounter, to say the least, but one that ended up faring well for the impala. Doesn't seem like there's too much happening at Tswalu Dam, other than the usual. We've got the crocodile on the island and some of the hippos away. Javi, I've only seen the one crocodile in the last couple of days. There are normally two, but crocodiles can also move between dams or water sources. So it could be that the other one is just somewhere on the other side, maybe resting by the shade, perhaps hiding in some of the Phragmites or in the reeds that are over there. Could also be. I haven't been able to see it, but that doesn't mean that it's not here. Crocodiles are also very good at hiding themselves and making themselves invisible, the same way that a leopard would. And could also just be on the other side of the island that we cannot see from here. But the last couple of days, or the last couple of times I've been here, I've only seen one. Suppose we're gonna have to wait and see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Maybe the other one is just also here, but just not wanting to be seen by many of us. Oh, there's a hippo swimming behind the crocodile. And when I say swimming, he's very likely just walking, and his feet are touching the bottom, and he's just propelling himself forward. And now, because we know the truth, he got afraid, or he got ashamed and then just went underneath. Righty, I think we're going to do the same as Jonty, and we're going to leave Chitwa Dam, and we're going to head back to our lion, see what it's doing. But in the meantime, let's see what Jonty's lions are up to.
It looks so... Oh, look at that yawn, half a yawn. But look at the light in this lion's face. Very, very cool indeed. Oh. This young lion's been by far the most active. We're hoping her movements are going to actually cue the others to get up. Please go somewhere normal. %100% on it. I'm just gonna... It's a bit tricky here because there are lions lying everywhere. Let me just try and reposition while I talk. Yeah, they definitely go into a deep sleep lion. The one earlier was snoring. Oh, hold on there, Dazza. And that's sometimes, especially in this sort of terrain, and especially male lions like Dark Mane that Ali was with earlier. If you're walking through a place like this and that lion is fast asleep, you can give yourself a fright. You also give them a fright. So I'm just going to try go through this gap. There's a lion here in this grass. I just want to try get these ones visible for you. Sounds like there's some elephants. Sorry lion, sorry lion. I'm just going to stop right here. I don't want to disturb this other one. I thought I could hear an elephant. I thought I could heard. We've got to the quality English part of the segment. I can hear an elephant trumpeting down in front the way we're facing. You can see how all the lions have got their heads up. They're also listening. I don't know if I can see the elephant with my... No, I can't quite see it. I think it's actually down in the drainage line from the tracks. I think it's the one of those elephants that we actually saw frolicking in the dam. Now what I'm trying to figure out, there's 9 lions in front of us here, but I can only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's another 4 that we can't see. Oh, there's another ear. 6. Where? You won't see it from where you are. I think there's a bush in the way. It's over my head. So I'm glad that they've got heads up. There's been a little bit of movement. That one got up and went to the bathroom. We'll continue our stakeout, I think. We'll just sit here and be patient.
While the African bush is desperate for rain, spring is certainly in the air. Fresh green leaves are sprouting, flowers are adding color to the landscape, and many animals are preparing for the birth of their young. At the moment, large concentrations of wildlife can be found at waterholes, which are the lifeline for the animals. But soon the rains will arrive, and the bush will transform overnight. Seasonal rivers will start to flow, the bush will be filled with baby animals, and it will become a time of plenty. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and join Ali and Jonty for a special Spring Has Sprung fireside chat on the 12th of September, straight after the Sunset Safari. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Competitors are in the room behind me right now for the birding challenge, where they have to look at pictures and identify the birds and then separately listen to bird calls and identify them. But it's not easy. This is going to be the toughest one. Here we have the previous year's winners. You can see they're trying to see if they can remember all the answers, and look at them taking a sneak peek.
You are cheeky. That was a brave decision. Amber Eyes is... Oh. That is so magic. That was absolutely wonderful. Amber Eyes just gave that cub an enormous hug.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Welcome back. So we're hoping that the one lion will move. We couldn't really see it earlier. It was in the bushes. Maybe if we get lucky it will move out. Look at how ridiculous this is. So it's crazy. He chose to get up and then just come and stand right in front of the car. This is the one that has taken a bite mark, the base of the tail there. And shame, it looks so painful. It actually looks like he got bitten right on his testicle, which must be horrific. You can see how swollen his tail is at the base there. And it clearly irritates him when flies and things go on it. Oh, let me go forward slightly so we don't have any branches in our way. Wow, look at that. You can see how the flies irritate him. He does have a beautiful face though, this lion. I think we managed to get some really cool shots of them this morning walking towards us. in that beautiful morning light. Lucy, that's an interesting question, because the prides, the females, they sort of have their territories that they move around in, and the males would be the ones that would then be more or less dominant depending on how many females or how many groups of females that they have under their control. So at the moment there isn't really a coalition that's sort of super dominant. The two younger or avoca males, they are starting to move a bit further south, and so then I don't know when the last time they were seen with the Talamatis, but they definitely hang out with the Nkuhuma pride, and they've been seen mating with the Kambula pride. I think for me, like if you look at sort of not so much dominance, but one of the longest established prides in the Sabi Sands is the Styx pride, which have kind of moved. They've done a huge loop, and now they hang out on Sabi down in the southern part of the Sabi Sands, and their territory was initially established in the middle of Mala Mala at a place called Styx Rocks. I can't remember the exact time, but I think the records from that pride start in the 60s. So in terms of this, like a long-serving generation after generation, I think that probably is the longest. I may well be incorrect, so I don't know if anybody watching has got more information. But everybody's kind of talking about that it's nearly time for another big male lion coalition takeover. And all of there's been a couple sort of in the last 15 years, but at the moment there's just a couple of old boys holding on to some turf, so there's an opening. We're going to continue to Sachig and head over to Trico, who's managed to find what he has been looking for.
Welcome back, everybody. As you can see right in front of you, we have finally found our lions. Laying down close to some shade. And if you remember earlier on, this is what I actually expected these lions to be doing at this time of the day. Just laying down. And there's one right there laying flat, and you can see sort of more right of it. You can see that bit of mane, sort of lightish mane there. As you can see the ear there twitching a little bit. And that is a male lion there, one of the Ross males. And also if you look at his tummy, a little bit bulgy, almost looks like it has swallowed a basketball. So they have eaten something recently, even though I don't know what it is though. There's another female lioness coming from a distance there. There she is. We're moving away from where she was and coming to join the rest of the pride. How amazing is that? She is just laying down there, quite close to the rest of the members. And also the one female here, the white one, also she is up. And I think what made her got up is actually because of that female that was approaching her. Obviously the grass is quite dry and it's making a lot of noise as it moves. So it got her head up a little bit. And this is quite cool because I haven't seen this white female in a while. Anya, I didn't really copy that question, but I believe you're asking, have the Birminghams ever left Ngala? Is that the question? All right, Fanya, have they ever left the reserve? Yes, they have. You know, and they do it quite often, actually. You know, Ngala itself is about 14,000 hectares. I mean, quite big for them to be in and around, and also there's a lot of food and stuff like that. But they do actually even move out of the reserve. Most of the time heading south into the reserve called Manuleti and into the Kruger. But they tend to not spend too much time in those areas because remember, there might be other prides in that area that might fight them. So they normally spend a little bit of time and then come back onto Ngala. Look at that female there, busy grooming herself. And if you pay attention, right, how she is grooming herself, she's actually licking her paws and then bringing her leg up and sort of wiped it against her face. Also making sure that her face is looking nice and clean. And if you look close, you can see those claws. She has now actually expose them a little bit. And licking them and removing any debris that might be under there. Maybe some little bit of little stones, even blood. Because as I said earlier on, if you looked at that Rosmel, one of the males, his stomach is quite big, which makes me think that they had something to eat, whether yesterday or 2 days ago. So maybe this female might have a little bit of dry blood under her, or, as I said, a bit of salt. That's why she's cleaning herself. So 50, I believe you're saying that this is one of your favorite prides. I am glad that you can join us today here on Ngala. It actually is mine as well. And it's just something about just sitting here and spending time with these particular animals. Especially if you spend time with them, especially if, you know, with the youngsters that you see grow to become, you know, sub-adults. And this is amazing. So you can see that female busy grooming herself, and I think that's what the rest are going to do as time progresses. So that's another sign that you show that they might start to move. So grooming, a bit of stretch. That's one of the signs that they might start to move away. But let's spend a little bit of time and see what they will do.
So we are just enjoying these afternoon sounds, colors, and I just want to see, this lion was snoring earlier. I'm just going to sit really, really quiet and see if he goes back to that deep sleep so we can hear him snoring. Lying like a spatchcock chicken.
So we come to the end of another beautiful bushwalk. We thought we'll just watch the sun as it slowly sets down over Leopard Dam. A few frogs starting to call. Kingfisher hovering. Some guinea fowl alarming in the distance. I think it's going to be a busy night here, especially with the carcass in the water here. It could be attracting many things. I'm sure leopards and lions might have heard the commotion this morning and be making their way in. But as you see there disappears the sun. Beautiful silhouette of these naked trees. I wonder if something is coming down to the dam. Maybe we'll arrive here once we leave and it gets dark. Maybe we'll come here tomorrow morning and check out the tracks. Read the bush newspaper. And you can also see all the insects touching down on the surface of the water. As I mentioned before, just getting a little bit of moisture before a dark night, dark and cold night. And birds coming down for their last drinks as well. Well, That's the end of a bushwalk for us today, but the other live feeds will be continuing on for the next little while, so don't go anywhere. There's more action to come, but from us here at Pridelands, we'll see you later.
While the African bush is desperate for rain, spring is certainly in the air. Fresh green leaves are sprouting, flowers are adding color to the landscape, and many animals are preparing for the birth of their young. At the moment, large concentrations of wildlife can be found at waterholes, which are the lifeline for the animals. But soon the rains will arrive, and the bush will transform overnight. Seasonal rivers will start to flow, the bush will be filled with baby animals, and it will become a time of plenty. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and join Ali and Jonty for a special Spring Has Sprung fireside chat on the 12th of September, straight after the Sunset Safari. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Well, we certainly hope that everybody's feeling a little bit more excited about the fireside chat than what Darkmane feels about it. He has not moved. Well, I lie. He's moved a tiny bit, potentially dragged himself to where there was a little bit more shade, because if I remember correctly from the angle, that's roughly where his face would have been covered by the shade. But he still has not gone too far, and every now and again he starts twitching, but I think it's more that he's dreaming about something or just has some nervous reflexes that are working in there, but he has not yet decided to wake up. And we were kind of hoping that at this time of the day he would have already moved around, or perhaps started stretching or grooming himself, and perhaps even roaring or started roaring to try and find where the rest of the Talamati pride is, because we know where they are, but he probably just kind of knows in what direction they are. I'm sure he'll be calling for them tonight, and maybe, well, if he walks in this direction, I don't know what's happening with my words today, he might pop in front of the dam cam later on tonight, so it might be a good idea to keep an eye out there. It's a possibility, although there's another route he might take, but he seems to like walking in that general direction, so fingers crossed we'll be able to see him there. For now, he's looking incredibly comfortable on this road. What a way of sleeping. And Nadia, I don't think only unknown lions would attack this lion if they found him asleep like this. But he's also, although he appears to be very soundly asleep, his ears are still working, and he can wake up at, just at the drop of a hat if he senses that there's any potential danger around him. So if hyenas were to find an injured male, perhaps, that is not in great condition, they might think about attacking it or taking their chances. But in this case, I don't think they would try anything for Darkmane, even if they were to bump into him now. I think what would potentially happen is that if we had a hyena go by, would just look at him in the distance and then just carry on with their day. Almost like a no aggression pact. Hyena's not too interested in what the lion's doing. The lion's not interested in the hyena. There's no food involved. They just carry their own ways. He really does seem to be having... He almost looks sweet that way with his dark mane like that. The hair kind of combed onto the side. Almost looks like a schoolboy. No, don't you think so? Darren, you're seeing lions where there aren't any, so you can't make fun of me. Darren, I'm sorry, Morgan. Don't know what's happened there. Now I'm making up people too. You see there's a little bit of twitching there. He's stretching his back legs a little bit. Reed, I don't really think they've got... Well, the females, yeah, maybe the females do have separation anxiety, and when they're not with their pride, they incessantly call for one another to try and get back together. So in the case of the females, I think they do. In the case of the males, not really. I think Darkman in particular gets feeding anxiety, so he doesn't want to miss out on anything that the females might catch that he might be able to feed on. And I do think he's more than capable of catching his own meals. He doesn't need the Talamati pride to survive, but it's an added benefit of having them around. Seems like the drungos are causing a racket around here. I wonder if he's not dreaming of catching a buffalo now every time he flexes his paws like that. I think I'm imagining lions roaring in the distance. Fortunately, with the noises of the camera that are in the car, it's sometimes hard to determine noises or pick up audio of anything if it's too far from us, because it just sucks up all that noise. But I think if I had actually heard any lions, Darkman would have heard it too, and perhaps he would have shown a little bit more interest than what he has now. Not too worried with life right now. We'll see tomorrow. He won't be here tomorrow, probably not even anywhere in the area, but I suppose we know where the lions are today, so that gives us a starting point to find out where they're gonna go tomorrow. And the buffalo herd seems that they've crossed north into Buffelshoek, so I suspect the lions are gonna follow them into Buffelshoek tonight, perhaps carry on to the north. And if they don't come right, they might just carry on going back to Manileti, see if they can find another buffalo herd there. But having said this, even though the buffalo are around, if they have the opportunity to hunt something else, like an impala or a kudu or a Ngala, they would definitely take their chances as well. I don't know if the Talamatis are big on giraffe, but there are a few prides of lions that also enjoy, well, not enjoy, but know how to take down giraffe, especially when the pride gets very large. Then a giraffe is a big animal and it sustains them for a couple of days at a time. And there were some giraffes down at Treehouse Dam earlier, but they're a little bit far from where the rest of the lions are. Maybe Darkmane will give them a hint or a tip and be like, guys, come this way, let's try a different meat this time around.
RSA has a long history, over 90 years, of being involved and even pioneering aspects of the conservation sector in South Africa. Over that long history, we have realized that all of the issues that we are facing both locally and globally are due to human impact. Therefore, we need to concentrate on working with people, and that is what RSA does. What makes me passionate about the work that we do at RSA, and in particular the work that I engage in, is actually connecting with people. Currently the work that I'm working on is working with youth in a skills development program, and just to meet the youth and to hear their stories and to bring them opportunities that we hope will have some impact on their lives really fuels me to get up every morning. A huge shout out to the women that I work with, as well as to all the women that are contributing hugely within the environmental sector, both in South Africa and in the world.
And I turned to shore and I saw that she had this panicked look on her face. Either she was afraid that something had happened or she was afraid that she was going to miss out on something. But instead of her missing out on those lions, we drove up next to them and I switched off the car so that she could hear what was going on. Now, these lions had killed a kudu, and she could hear these two cubs, both 8 months old at the time, busy pushing and shoving each other out the way to get to the best parts of the meat. And the mom was lying just to the side in the shade. Now, I'd known that before losing her sight, Sean probably knew what a lion looked like. But I really wanted her to know what this lion looked like. So for the first time in my guiding career, I started to describe to someone what a lion looked like. And I found that, I started to notice things in that lion that I'd never seen before.
Oh, it's going to be in trouble now. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. Here comes a hippo in too. Go, Impala! There's a hippo coming in. I can't believe what we're seeing here. This is what we normally see in East Africa. It's all over. Hippo leaping at the crocodile now. Everything's gone underwater.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Well, not much has changed. I can almost... Oh. Yes. That was a very weird yawn, even for a lion. It's not normally the way lions tend to yawn. That tongue seems that it went all over the place. But okay, we won't judge you. If you want to try again, we'll be more than happy to see you do it again, okay? That's more like it. Well done. Good lion. There is some hope now that he'll maybe sit up, maybe start grooming himself, perhaps even decide to call for the rest of the pride. Oh, don't get my hopes up. Good indication that animals are starting or considering getting up is exactly this. Well, besides the getting up and sitting down, it's the yawning. Ah, bless you. You look very messy, like you've just woken up with all the sheets next to you. So he will need a decent grooming session just to get rid of all those leaves and everything he's picked up while he's been sleeping right here next to this tree. It's a typical view of somebody that's, that's overslept and then just woke up and it's a little bit disoriented, doesn't really know what's going on. Now that's quite impressive, once you get to see all their teeth and all their canines. Still a little bit squinting. There we go, nice big yawn again. Laney, half of his mane is dark, it's just genetics. Lions have different colored manes. Some of them are blonder, some of them are darker. In some areas, lions tend to have in general darkened manes, like in the desert. And in general, also darker manes are associated to a more dominant individual. Nice grooming. That was quick. I did not expect for things to change so quickly. He's normally taken his time to just kind of get up there and start moving. And to be fair, we haven't really, or I haven't had the chance to spend a lot of time with him in the afternoon. It's normally in the mornings where we find him. So I'm kind of hoping that in the next couple of minutes or so, he will decide then when he's done with his beauty treatment and he becomes a good-looking lion once more, then he might just give us a roar, because we all know I'm a fan of the roaring. It is the best sound in all of Africa.
Well, it looks like they've gone north and west of the road. If they carry on the way they're going, they'll go through Rubbing Post and
You see, he licks his paw and then rubs his head there. She's just trying to clean his face. Not necessarily his paws, but he's just trying to get rid of anything he might have picked up that is around his eyes and might disturb him, or that might just be a bit of an issue. This is really perfect timing. Just as the sun went down, then you got up. I had little faith when we saw him sleeping just in the middle of the, well, not in the middle of the road, but in the middle of this patch, just under the sun, under very little shade. Oh, you're looking quite serious. Ha. That is one way of getting rid of all the leaves that he picked up in his mane, is just to shake it off. I think he means business now. I keep imagining that I can hear lions in the distance. Giraffe girl, I'm not sure how many were seen today, how many sub-adult males were seen. I've normally seen 2 or 3, but I would have to double check on the right number of them. The last time when we had them and that day that it was raining, there were definitely 2. I'm not too sure about the third one. But maybe we can ask Jonty now that when he catches up with them, just to have a look at and then count how many sub-adult males are within that group. He's looking quite regal today, isn't he? It's a little bit of the faint glow of the light. Looking quite impressive with his mane. You have been sleeping a lot. This is a lot of yawning. Licking his chops and now fixing his face. Maybe he wants to make himself presentable for the ladies. Now that they haven't been together for a couple of days, you know, he's got to watch the way he appears. Wants to make sure he's still in the good books. Maybe this is the pre-dinner date grooming. Tammy, I don't think he'll recover from his leg injury. It seems, unfortunately, that the injury, or if he had a broken foot, which we suspect he did, has set that way. So although he can still walk, it didn't set properly, and I believe he's going to have that limp pretty much for the rest of his life. So it does seem to slow him down, in the sense that he's not able to walk too fast, or he perhaps is not able to keep up with the pace of a pride. But other than that, he seems to be doing just fine. I mean, he looks to be in good condition. He was sleeping very happily today, the whole day. He's been with the Talamatis on a buffalo kill a couple of days ago. So although there's definitely a limitation on his injury and a disability, and I don't think it's going to get cured, or I don't think it's possible to fix it, and it will definitely not fix itself, I think he's still doing, oh yes, he's doing just fine. Yes. Oh, don't you hate it where the yawning gets in the way of the roaring? Now he's going to start looking for them. So he's given a few contact calls. I think he was going to try to go for the full-on roar, but other biological needs got in the way. So let's just give him a couple more minutes. Maybe he'll maybe he'll roar. Sarah, I agree. No matter what, he always looks handsome. He does. He is a very good-looking lion, and he's got a beautiful mane. Yeah, your ladies are in that direction, boy. We're going to be switching to IR, so if you see a change in the picture, that's because we've gone into infrared mode. Oh, Darkmane, you're keeping us here hanging by a thread. We're waiting. I feel like he's playing with all of our emotions. He knows he wants to roar. We know he wants to roar. He's listening. He's trying to decipher where they've all gone. And that's how it's done. The lion roar for the win. Thank you, Darkmane. That was pretty epic. For a second there, I thought maybe we were not going to have a chance to see it, but that was pretty spectacular. And now that he's called once, very likely he'll call again, just looking for the rest of the pride. I can't hear them answering, and if they're busy hunting, they won't answer back. Because roaring will just give their position away, especially if they're after the buffalo, then the buffalo will know straight away that there's something to worry about.
Look at the sunset. The Drakensberg is so clear. We are just enjoying
leaving Darkmane on Philemon's Line.
Enjoying the sunset. I'm just going to move the car. There's a vehicle coming past. I might have to talk to them. They are looking for some lions that we left a little bit earlier. How you doing? Yeah, if you go back towards Shorthorns, there's a big termite mound. They're lying just on the northern side of that termite mound. West of the road, yeah. Bit far, but maybe. Sorry, I'm just live. Cool, cheers. So sorry, you just heard me chatting to that other vehicle there. They're busy looking for some lions in the area where we are. So what I'm hoping is that while we're looking at this beautiful sunset, imagine we heard some lions roaring as well.
Welcome back, everybody. So earlier on, as we were sitting with those other lions, we had some reports from one of the rangers here, Alan Budenston, and he actually is the one who led us to these lions. As you can see right there, busy feeding over there. So we can't really actually see what they're feeding on, but according to Alan, they basically took down a blue wildebeest there. Look at that. I mean, as you can see, if you look around where they are, I mean, the grass is quite dry and the trees as well. So these lions basically use that to their advantage in order to sneak up to these animals and manage to take it down. You can see further left from your screen, so you will notice there is that white lion with a bit of mane there. You can see there's one male there and some few females. So we think this is the breakaway pride that broke off from that pride that we just saw earlier on. I mean, how amazing is this? Mr. Wild, welcome. I'm glad that you can join us here on andBeyond in Ngala. It's dinner time indeed. And I was actually about to say that the way they were feeding earlier on, you know, they looked like they were all happy with one another feeding in and around that carcass. But then all of a sudden now you just saw they just started to fight over that carcass. Oh, look at that male pulling that bit of meat there from the end. And it's quite interesting, right? Like, it's interesting, right? Because these animals are probably, worked as a team to be able to take these wildebeest down. And you'd think that'll be sort of the same thing that we'll do as they're feeding. They'll be quite happy with each other, feeding in and around. But when it comes to feeding, there's always fights happening all the time. And I mean, there's enough meat to go around, but as you saw earlier on, they had a little bit of a go at each other. They hear a little bit of a growl. Deon, welcome. I believe your question is this wildebeest enough for this pride? I can't really see how many there are there. I'm thinking maybe about 6 or 7, maybe? 7? No, I think it'll be enough. I think everyone will fill their tummies. But also, as you know, lions are quite opportunistic. I mean, even when they're down here and there's probably another, prey animal that will come past, that they'll think they'll catch, they'll still chase and catch. But I think it will be quite enough for them. Alice, welcome. Glad you can join us this afternoon. I believe your question is, where did the name Birmingham come from? A very good question there. So these lions came from an area that is called Birmingham, which is a reserve further west of us. And that's where they get their name from. This is amazing. I mean, this type of stuff you don't see every day, right? And you think, because, we live in the bush and we work here every day, we see this often, like, you don't really see this quite often. So, sometimes you just have to be at the right area at the right time. Just like what Alan did earlier on. You can see a bit of a rib cage showing. You know what I'm gonna do now? I'm basically just gonna keep quiet, right? And we just, just listen to the sounds of them just feeding in and around this carcass. I mean, this is amazing. You can like literally just sit here for hours and just, watch them feed. And I wonder with them making that bit of noise, maybe they might attract things like hyenas maybe.
Hi, we are Yaku and Milani. We are from Gauteng in South Africa. We started watching WildEarth last year during the level 5 lockdown, and we've been watching ever since.
Being in nature is one of the greatest feelings. We absolutely love it. Our favorite thing about WildEarth is that the concept is so amazing. We have the benefit of having a wildlife safari in the comfort of your home, especially when you're not allowed to go out. Being part of the Wildlife Explorer program gives us a sense of giving back and contributing to nature. It just makes us feel good because we love it so much. We are so excited to be visiting Ngala. It is obviously, I think for most people, an absolute dream to visit the Masai Mara. We can't wait to go.
Thank you very much for this amazing prize, WildEarth.
WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
For me, the best part about being a guide is being able to live out in Africa's wild places and being able to share that with people. Of all the challenges, for me, the one that I'm probably the most comfortable with is the game drive. I think that's what I do most days, so that would probably be what I feel like I'd do the best at. Almost like someone's put little Lego blocks up there and made this perfect little sort of statue, and there's another one further along as we drive. One of the challenges I'm the most nervous about would probably be shooting. I think on the day there's always quite a bit of pressure and intimidation, always associated with it, but I guess we'll see how it goes. I hope I'll win this competition, but if I don't, it's still been an experience of a lifetime, and I've learned a lot and met a lot of really, really cool people.
Goodness, look at its wobbly legs. Oh, I don't believe it. I can't believe we've actually seen it. Oh my goodness. Oh, careful, careful, careful. Oh no. Oh, it's okay, little one. Okay.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Come to us.
Welcome back. We're still pretty much watching and sitting with these animals. You can basically now see in the middle where that Sabarab male feeding a bit of horns of that wildebeest. I'm not too sure, or maybe I've seen any signs that this is like a male or a female wildebeest that are feeding on. Antique, welcome. I believe your question is, are the two Ross males with them? Antique, no. The two Ross males were just basically left them. We were just with them earlier on. They're further east of where we are, east of the reserve. they're basically just sleeping. So this is, these lions used to be part of the pride, which is the breakaway pride. So now the two roast males are not here. And I mean, from where we left them to here, it's quite a bit of a distance. So I'm 100% sure they have no idea that these lions are here on a kill. When I was actually looking around earlier on, I think there's basically about 5 suburb males and 2 females here. I don't know if everybody can hear that, just the sound of them feeding and crunching and bones breaking. And you can see that one right in the middle is panting now. Which tells you that they've, filled up their tummies and the food is pushing against the diaphragm, which is why it's panting like that. But it's not stopping feeding. As you can see, it's going back again, getting more. And I mean, who knows when last these lions had a kill. And, if this is the first time in a while, they're going to keep on eating and stuff themselves because, I mean, they don't know when they're going to catch their next meal. It's not that easy, to take down prey here because sometimes the prey even run away. And the longest I've seen lions go without food was a week. So it is actually not that easy. But once you catch something, you need to eat as much as you can see with these lions there. Oh, look at that. The young male pulling it away now. I mean, it almost looks like there's nothing much left. this is absolutely amazing. And I wish we still had a little bit more time of the show. But unfortunately, pretty soon we are going to come to an end of the show, because I mean, it'll be quite interesting to see, what happens to this carcass, if other animals might come, or, even the Birmingham Pride that we just left, maybe they might come in this area. It'll be quite interesting. But unfortunately, we are going to come to an end of the show. And thanks to everybody that joined us this evening. And yeah, hopefully we meet again tomorrow, same place, same time.